Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
I have a little bit of a secret to tell you. Before I met you at the NFA show, Matt Frazier actually apparently like linked up with you beforehand, and he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, my son trains with this guy named Niko, and he does soccer private lessons with you because that's what you do for work." He's like, "You should really talk to this guy. He's a really cool guy." I was like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "I'll talk to him." I met you at NFA, and I think we had like a 30-minute conversation in the backstage just about like just random bullshit. It's good to have you, man. Thank you for being here.
I'm excited to be here, man. I've been following this for a pretty long time, so it's cool to finally be here.
I have to ask. I'm going to start with this one. We talked about in the backstage that you wanted to start a podcast, and I'm curious what the impetus was for that. Like, why do you want to start one?
I love talking to people. I like learning. I like talking to people who I feel like I know a lot about what I'm into, but I don't know a lot about a lot of other things. You know what I mean? So just being able to bring people on and have conversations with them and learn is important to me.
Is that what you would want to do? Like as a podcast, come in there as like more educational than anything else?
Educational. I'm big into business, so like I don't think that I know everything. I definitely don't know a lot, but I'm learning, right? And so I think bringing people on who are successful in that aspect is really cool. Athletes, people who are successful in whatever specific thing that they're into would just be really nice. I love talking to people. So I talk all the time. So
I had a vision for what this would be, and then what it's morphed into is not what I thought it was going to be when I started, but and this is what I told you is just start.
Yeah.
Just start and then like have it morph into its own and don't worry about it being perfect. I put a lot of stress on myself that was not needed, and now it's gotten to the point now where like turning on the cameras and doing a podcast is just as easy as like having a dinner or like a conversation with a friend. Awesome. So luckily I got to this point, Anyway,
did you do any like practice ones before you went live, or did you just go straight in?
Whitney was the first one. There are 3 episodes that did not air. Mm-hmm. All 3 of those were because, and I hate this, but Wayne Creder, Jose Intriago, and one other one I forget, Adam McChesney. Wayne Creder and Jose, we had technical issues, and I didn't feel right doing just the audio version. Specifically, it was video issues. We have all this equipment. You want to know what the silver lining was, or like the single point of failure? The fucking HDMI cables. The cheapest thing about this whole studio. Dude, I was stressing because the cameras were studying, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like we just bought these cameras. Like how are we already having technical difficulties?" And then I was thinking to myself, like, okay, there's like 3 things it can be. It could be the camera, it could be the HDMI cable, it could be the lens. 2 of those are much more expensive than the third, so let's try the third option first and go from there.
Smart.
Luckily, it was fixed, but I felt so bad because with Wayne and Jose, we were having a discussion. We're like, it was a good talk. Like with Wayne, it was all about race. We did like 2 hours on race relations.
That's cool. That's good. It's a perfect time for it too.
Yeah,
like really, probably would have been even better then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was about like 6 months ago. It was about like Trump was kind of like pulling ahead, and he was announced that he was gonna, actually more than 6 months ago, but there was like a lot of race relations. There was a lot of things going on at the time, and I remember Wayne was like, "I'm down to clown if you are," and I was very appreciative of that, and it was a great substantive conversation. The problem is, because of the technical issues, I didn't want to post audio only, and then how do you fake a 2.5-hour conversation like you didn't have it?
Sure.
So I do need to get both of those guys on again to do them justice because they gave me the time. But I really pride myself, like, did we have any prep for this? Was there like, did I send you any questions?
No,
nothing. It's just because like I want to have a cordial conversation. Sure. Problem with that is you can't fake like you didn't have that conversation.
Right.
So, but Adam McChesney was the third person we had, and the reason I pulled his episode was because our editor did a big fuck up. But then he got extremely litigious really quickly. And I was like, that's why we have the waivers. That's why we have a bunch of other shit now. It's funny because when I started the podcast, it was just a passion project. It was just like fun. And it's slowly morphing into something a little bit more than that. But I want to make sure that it doesn't morph I want it to make enough money to supplement itself.
Sure.
But I don't want it to become a business.
Fair.
I don't have the time. I don't have the bandwidth.
Fair.
What do you want to do with yours if you're pursuing this? What's the goal?
I just want to enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like what you told me, you know, like, you're going to ask people to go to dinner, and they might be like, yo, what the fuck, you know? If you're like, hey, you know, like, let's put it out there for other people to listen to. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't really care. It's not really as much about other people. It's more about the conversation itself, you know, and what you get out of it, so. I
have so many conversations in private. I think to myself, if one person listens, that's a win, you know?
Sure.
And then, yeah, like I told you, I was like, if you want to talk to, like, highly successful people or whatever, their hourly rate is much more than mine and much more than yours.
Right.
So if you ask them, like, you know, come to dinner with me, let me pick your brain for an hour or two, they'll be like, first of all,
yeah, right.
I don't roll that way. Second of all, how much are you going to pay me?
Sure.
But the impetus or, like, the viewpoint of a podcast is, like, there's value there for them as well through social initiatives. Like, I think everyone wants to be, maybe not on a podcast, but everyone wants the camera on them in some way, shape, or form.
For sure. Well, and people like talking about what they do. People like talking about themselves for the most part. So, like...
Especially if you get a sales guy.
Yeah.
They don't stop talking.
Fair.
No, I've enjoyed it. I'm glad I did it. But one of the things that you were saying to me in the back was also that you were thinking about pursuing MMA as more than just a hobby. Because right now you work primarily, I don't want to mess this up. I know that you do trainings and stuff like that,
sure.
and like lessons and youth programs, but you also play soccer for St. Louis Ambush, an indoor soccer team. But you also are dabbling in amateur mixed martial arts.
Yeah, yeah.
How does that work, first of all? Because are you not considered a professional athlete when you play soccer?
I am.
So then how can you then fight amateur?
So that's a really good question. Maybe because it's not a combat sport. I don't know.
Sense.
I'm not really, I don't know. I never really thought about it that way. I know, like, if you do like professional wrestling, you immediately, like, can't fight amateur anymore.
No.
I don't know.
Isn't that weird?
It is kind of weird because it's like, yeah.
They consider that professional wrestling a combative.
Yeah, well, it's, I guess you're getting thrown through tables and shit. So
all those years jumping off the top rope.
Yeah.
That's the advantage you need.
Yeah, but I think you know, it's hard. I struggle with this a lot because I feel like for a while I was okay with, like, having my hand in a lot of different things. And lately, like, probably within the past year, I try to pick, like, you know, 5, like a handful of things, right, where you just go all in. Because if you try to do more than that, it becomes too much, and you can't do anything to the best of your ability. So it becomes to be like, oh, you have to give 80% there and 20% there, or whatever the case is. Soccer, I'm blessed. You know, I've done it my whole life, really enjoy it. The thing for me that I like, what I like about mixed martial arts and MMA is I've become so much more disciplined. Like it's completely changed my life.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I've always been disciplined. You know what I mean? I don't think you can play a sport and not have some you know, amount of discipline.
Well, at your level too. It's like you could play a sport literally.
Right. Like maybe to go, like, to play in college, right? You have to have some sort of discipline, and then to play it at a higher level, it's a little bit more discipline. And everyone would always tell me, like, "Oh, you're so disciplined," but, like, I feel like within the past 2 years, but really, like, the past 7-8 months, when I really got into it and started training, like, every day consistently, just my life has just completely changed. Like,
just wanted to take a second to pause the action and just tell you guys thank you so much for consuming our content. Easy Talk is a passion project. This podcast is just a bunch of like-minded people coming together to produce some cool stuff and talk to some cool people. One of the things I would very much appreciate is if you could possibly like the video or subscribe to the channel, just because it helps us in the algorithm and ultimately to grow, to get more exposure to everybody, including ourselves, and ultimately just make a better product. Take a second, I'd greatly appreciate it, and on with the show. What about MMA has driven you towards it? So, like, what is the compare and contrast to soccer?
you get humbled every single day.
You don't get humbled in soccer?
You do, but it's different. It's different because soccer, like, you make a mistake and then there's somebody behind you to defend you.
Like a team
in
sport.
In fighting, you fuck up and you get hit, you know, and then you you got to come back and continue to get hit and continue to, you know, and then it was like, okay, well, you get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And I think it's like you wake up in the morning, you do shit that you don't want to do, and it's like, well, I could be getting kicked in the face right now, you know? Like, you do sales and somebody tells you no, and it's like, well, could have just gotten punched. I didn't, you know? He told me no and told me to fuck off. Like, there's a lot worse things, you know? So it's like, I think it just changed my perspective on a lot of things. So I love it. But I know probably lately within the past, like, 6 months, there's been a lot of shit that's happened in the local MMA community. And I'm one of those people, man, like, if you fuck me over, okay, we're not cool. But I know there's, like, a lot of stuff between different gyms and, like, different people. And, I honestly just want the best for the sport. I think
You're talking about Bree?
I'm just talking about everything in general. I don't know her, but I know that was, like, a big thing.
Gotcha.
I'm more just, like, about gyms and, like, different people not getting along. And
That's funny that you say that, because I'll be honest with you. I've been in the scene now for 11 years. And I would say that relations are probably better now than they ever have been.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I haven't been in it as long.
Well, it could also seem, because it's like proximity bias, too.
Sure,
It's like maybe
sure.
I think that because I'm not a fighter anymore. So, like, I'm like, oh, like, you know,
Right.
everyone's all hunky-dory. But maybe because you are still competing, maybe you're seeing things that I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I just, like, I hear a lot about stuff, and I don't have any enemies. I've not been in it probably long enough to have any enemies, but...
None of them have enemies. I mean that.
Sure.
None of them have enemies.
Sure.
Like, no one from Wolves Den and ES and St. Charles and Jamie's and...
Right.
They're all...
That's the way it seems to me, too.
They're all just trying to do the same shit.
But, man, I feel like the sport as a whole would be elevated so much more and so much more... I think if kids were into it, like, if people were into this from a younger age, and it would just make a really big difference.
I agree 100%, but I'll elaborate even further on that, because I think what you mean is like younger kids. I think if you started doing MMA in high school and college, you would fundamentally change the program of the UFC, because then you would have the same initiatives for academics that you do for other sports. Like,
Exactly.
Sean Strickland made a quote one time where he was like, if you had enough money in MMA that paid the same amount as like the NFL guys, the NBA guys, the MLB guys, that every champion in the UFC would be American.
Right.
And I do agree with that to an extent, but I would go a step further. If you had like high school sports accommodate and take in like amateur kids mixed martial arts, because they have the UMMAF, which is like the United Mixed Martial Arts Association for youth, right?
Sure.
And it's like they have shin guards on, they have the bigger
Full
gloves,
combat, no head.
full combat. But there's, I'm not going to do the rule set justice trying to explain it, because I don't know it off the top of my head. Sure. But I know that they take precautions for kids specifically, and maybe it is as like no headshots, and I'm fine with that. Like whatever it is that you want to do, because I know that they can still do like a bunch of the submissions, about like 80 or 90% of the submissions. Obviously, like straight locks, nothing like no heel hooks or like joint manipulation of that kind. But and they can kick and what have you. If you had something in like high school, to where the NCAA also then had an MMA program, the same way they have wrestling, baseball, whatever. Imagine if these kids, instead of going up through like an amateur ranks, quote unquote, could go to school for doing this. Right. Imagine what kind of fighters you would create overnight. And then more than that, you sort of eliminate the scarcity mindset in fighting, because right now it's UFC or you can barely make a living.
Sure.
But what if you could also get an education from it?
Right.
That's the secondary fallacy that like all these other sports get that MMA doesn't have, and it's still a nascent sport. It's 30 years old.
Yeah.
And it's violent. That's the other thing. It's a contact sport, right?
And I think that's a big piece of it, is like a lot of people who, you know, UFC probably, I feel like in the past, you know, you got Sean O'Malley and like Conor McGregor, and I feel like you've always had those people, but I feel like really within the past few years, like, dude, a bunch of my friends that are like in fraternities who had never watched fights are like, fuck yeah, dude, Sean O'Malley. It's like you've never watched a fight ever, right? So, and I think a lot of the people who see that, who have never watched a fight, get this specific idea and of like negativity, but I don't think a lot of people understand the positives that come out of it, and the way that it can, you know, most of the fighters are like the nicest people you'll ever meet. Yeah. Like if you go into a bar, everyone who's causing problems is never the ones that are fighters.
They're not the trained ones.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, or like, if they are fighters, they're the loser fighters, the traveling losers that just basically do it for $300-400 a pop.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it after I said it. it's kind of hypocritical though, right? It's like you're gonna view like mixed martial arts or any sort of combative as like violent, but then you'll have high school football,
Right.
and it's like, what are we talking about? You know, at least I'm
CTE
not running
is a
full.
thing, you know?
Yeah, at least I'm not running full tilt, slamming my
Sure.
head. Anyway,
a 150-pound guy versus a 250-pound guy. You know.
Well, the other fun fact is that, you know, of all the martial arts that are professionally driven, I believe MMA has the lowest, and I don't want to say this like nonchalantly, any death is bad.
Sure.
But the majority of the injuries related to MMA were actually due to the weight cutting and not necessarily the actual combative.
Sure. And you know what else is like, I don't think people think about this a lot, but like, dude, when I had my first fight, it was boxing. My mom was like shitting herself. Okay? And I remember like my mom doesn't really drink a lot, but like, dude, she showed up and she was tipsy. Like she was freaking out. And I was like, Mom, like we're in headgear. We're in big ass gloves. Like it's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Did you like the headgear?
Fuck no, dude. I haven't worn headgear since that fight. Like I refuse to wear it. It's terrible. I honestly feel like I get hit more. It's worse.
You do?
I think maybe just like the leather on leather, but I don't know.
The idea is that it's supposed to prevent cuts which
makes
I
sense.
agree. I think headgear makes more sense with small gloves, actually. If you're going to train with small gloves, wear headgear because that'll prevent like a lot of the bruising and scarring and the cuts and all that. Headgear is awful. And I 11 years of sparring, I think I wore headgear twice.
Right.
And I was like, fuck this.
And yeah, and it's like, okay, but boxing, like if you watch a pro fight, you know, somebody gets knocked down and they get 8 seconds to recover and then they get their fucking head bashed in again. It's like boxing is, I feel like with like the older crowd especially, so much more acceptable. Like MMA, dude, you get knocked down and you're not defending yourself for 8 seconds, they're done. And that's it.
I spoke with Junaid Munchie, and it's not the initial concussion that tends to cause the CTE. It's the blows after the fact or repeated concussions.
Right.
Which makes sense. And I do agree with you. When you look at a lot of boxers, the standing 8 count, the fact that you can get absolutely dropped, and then, you know, as long as you get up in 10 seconds,
right,
you can continue the fight. And he also told me, because this is kind of pertinent to you, because you're a 25 or 35er, the most frequency for brain damage and death is in the lighter weight classes because we don't have the supplemental power to kind of put ourselves away with that big shot, right?
Sure.
Like heavyweight boxing, you get a lot of one-hitter quitters. Mm-hmm. But in the lower weight classes, you get a really athletic guys, very explosive. You know, they don't necessarily generate the same force to knock someone out, but they can still do damage. So you might get dropped, recover, you're still in it, but you're still concussed.
Right.
Your brain is still inflamed. And then you're getting hit again with another explosive shot from a guy who's, you know, 130 pounds, 125 pounds, fast. It's interesting because you wouldn't think on face value that the smaller guys are actually more dangerous to one another, but data proves that it's
I do believe that. I mean, also like just it's a lot faster. Like I feel like there's a lot more exchanges. They're in and they're out.
I bet you if you get in there with a really high level heavyweight, I bet you they're just as fast.
I'm sure they are, but I feel like if you watch a UFC fight and it's like, you know, 205ers.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like, okay, like they gas a lot quicker, so they're not coming out like balls to the wall most of the time, like you know, but like a lot of the young like little guys, man, it's just like it's fucking like crazy exchanges.
It makes sense when you think about it. I mean, I'm not carrying that extra 100 pounds, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. All I know is I would like to see in my lifetime, I already have some ideas of what I would want to change between like the amateurs and professional ranks as is. But one of the things that I would really love to see, to really see the sport transcend and to offer the most amount of like possible revenue generating avenues for people. Because it's like, how many people now, if you play high school basketball and you're good enough to get into the NCAAs, but you're not good enough to go pro, you can still get an education out of that.
Right.
And that's a tangible skill set.
Right.
You can still get a job. You can work a 9 to 5. Or, you know, let's say you don't like that. You didn't necessarily need to pay for that education if you're getting an athletic scholarship or some sort of athletic academic.
That's most of them. I mean, how many, like if you're going to look at percents, how many of them actually do go to play pro out of college athletes, right?
By process of elimination.
2%?
Yeah.
You know, 1%, right? So it's like...
And you're talking about the 2% of the 3% that get signed.
Exactly.
So,
For sure.
But I can even exacerbate that argument now with name, image, and likeness, because now you get to the point where these college athletes can actually make substantial money while they're in college.
For sure.
And even if they don't go pro, they got an education.
Right.
They got a good lump sum in the bag.
Right.
Good on you, man.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all these fighters, I know a bunch of fighters that like roof and then are amateur fighters, or they're doing like hard manual labor. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that work, but what I'm saying is it's a hard life.
It's hard, man, and it's probably more demanding. Not probably, it's more demanding than any other sport. I really do believe that, like physically. You know what I mean? It's just and
Wrestling. Wrestling was the most physically demanding sport I ever did.
Okay, fair.
But fighting
fair,
is hard. Don't get me
fair.
wrong.
Basketball or soccer or, I mean, those are all like, I'm a soccer player, man. Like, we're all fucking soft, man. Like,
you think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I joke about that all the time with all my teammates. I'm like, man, we're so soft. You know, guys are like diving and rolling around the ground. Like, fuck.
What do they say about you in mixed martial arts and this life that you're pursuing?
I think it's funny because I don't think that they quite understand like what goes into it.
Are you guys close? Like as a team, do you guys like hang out?
Yeah. I actually live with two of my teammates.
Okay.
So yeah, we live together. And
do they also train or no?
So it's a funny story. I brought one of them with me. Actually, three of my teammates do jiu-jitsu currently.
Okay.
Currently, I say that like not when we're in season, but three of them have trained. One of them's a blue belt. But my roommate, he's like, man, I'd love to come train with you sometime. Dude, I want everybody to train. I'm like, fuck yeah, tomorrow morning, like, let's go. See you at 6 a.m. We're going to go. And he went, and he's bigger than me. He's probably stronger than me. And we rolled, and, like, I'm not that good at jiu-jitsu, you know? But I think it kind of put into perspective for him, like, what really goes into it. Because nobody's good at jiu-jitsu when they start. No one. Most people are not good until they've done it for 7 or 8 years. You know what I mean? Like, but it just goes to show you, like, it's like an eye-opener.
For sure. You definitely know that moment, that epiphanous moment when someone comes into the gym for the first time. It doesn't even have to necessarily be jiu-jitsu.
Anything.
Kickboxing class, boxing class, beginners grappling, you know what I mean?
You just had Liz on, right?
Yeah.
I love Liz. She's phenomenal. She's so good. And I got a lot of rounds in with Liz before I was supposed to fight. And we were on the bus to Kansas City this past weekend, and they were like, how many of those guys do you think she could beat the shit out of? Because I was like, you know, there's some girls that I train with that would fuck you up. And
you're talking about the bus in Kansas City.
We're on the way.
Team.
We're on the way to KC, and they're like, well, so how many of the guys do you think she could beat? And I was like, dude, I literally think she could probably go 20 rounds. Like, I know there's some guys on our team that are, 200, 250 pounds. I think if she's in fresh, I think she fucks every single person on our team up. I truly believe that. Striking in general, like I don't like. Okay, yeah, there's always a chance, and I said this. There's always a chance they can land a good shot. Not
even that. Here's the problem. If you add rules, I agree. If it's like boxing,
sure,
I agree with you. But if you're talking about like a full fight,
absolutely not.
200-pound guy, damn.
No, but
200-pound guy is tough for me to deal with.
Sure,
and I'm a trained guy. You know what I mean?
So we were talking like rules. Not maybe like a street fight, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, it's a different. If you're talking about like in the boxing ring, I would agree with you.
But I told them that, and they're like, no way, and I'm like, I don't think you guys
come
just don't understand. And I told them that, and they're like, we'd love to go train. Guys, come train anytime. Like, I love that. I want everybody to do that. I think it'd be really good. But it's funny that you asked me that because I don't think people quite understand it. You know what I mean?
And if they did, they'd talk a lot less shit.
Right, and it's like, man. They have just no idea.
You alluded to this earlier in the conversation when you were talking about like when you're going out or whatever, like the people that are trained, like the real killers that could actually cause physical harm, are some of the most humble guys you'll meet. I think the reason for that is two reasons. One, they understand what it's like to be the nail because they've had to get beat on to get skilled.
For sure.
Like you said, no one starts good at jiu-jitsu. Well, yeah, dude, no one starts good at anything. When you're walking into a gym full of guys doing this 7 days a week, guess what? You're going to be the nail for a long time before you even have like glimpses of what it's like to hold the hammer. Second, once you become the hammer, you understand the responsibility you now have.
For sure.
Jordan Peterson has a great quote where he's like, the meek man can't be peaceful because to be peaceful constitutes an appropriate measure for violence.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I can cause violence.
Absolutely.
And I choose not to. Therefore, I'm peaceful. If you don't have the propensity for violence, then you can never say that you're quote unquote peaceful Because you never had the option to not be peaceful.
Absolutely. It's so funny. I used to fight all the time, like when I was in high school.
Yeah?
Yes, man, and like
Small man syndrome?
maybe, probably.
Fuck yeah, I had the same thing.
No, like
for the record, we're both like what 5'7", 5'8", like $150. You know what I mean?
Dude, maybe I'm probably under.
Dude, I'm like 175.
But
right now.
I'm like, dude, like I used to fight for like the stupidest reasons, man. Like somebody would piss me off in traffic. I'm like, fuck you, you know?
No shit.
Yeah. And now, like, it's funny. I told you we went out on Friday, and my roommate like grabbed me. He's like, yo, you know this and that. And I went over to the guy and I was like, hey man, what's the issue? And as soon as I looked, I was like, what's the problem? You know? And I was nice to him. I was like, what's the issue? He's like, oh, sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. My friend had too much to drink. I was like, all right, respect it. Like, just keep him away. You know, like, I don't care. I've had my ass beat way too many times. And a street fight ass kicking is way different than a proper ass kicking. You know what I mean? Like, you go into the gym and you get your ass beat. Like, it's a proper ass kicking, you know? And I don't want to do that. I don't like that. I don't like that shit beat out of me, you know?
I have a similar story when I was in high school and before. I used to get in brawls all the time about stupid shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I remember when I started training, I was like, man, I can't wait until shit goes down. I'm finally going to get to fuck someone up.
Yeah.
12 years later, shit has never gone down.
For sure.
I don't know if it's because, and my wife actually told me this, she's like, well, you just don't put yourself in positions to have that happen.
Right.
Which fair, I'm an older guy now, but like when I was like 24, 25, we used to go out, we used to party and all that shit.
Do you think you just like de-escalated the situation more?
I just didn't
like,
give a fuck.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? It's like, what, you're drunk and all this other shit. What does someone have to do to you for you to cause them physical harm?
So nothing to me. I mean, like if they hit me or something, I'll defend myself.
Yeah. So physical altercation. If they hit
like,
you,
like if they hit me, yeah,
okay.
I'll defend myself.
But then, how would you defend yourself? Would you put them in a position where they can no longer cause you harm, or would you fuck them up?
And that's the really good question. And that's why I don't really drink a lot because
really?
I don't like to know. I don't want to feel like I can't control myself. I don't want to feel like I can't defend myself. Because what would be great for me is to put them in a position where they can't hit me or they can't hurt me. But, I mean, it doesn't always work out that way. So I try to just, like, that never has happened to me. Like, I've never had anybody hit me or anything like that. Because usually I'm like, hey, man, let me buy you a beer. Maybe, like, one situation, I was dating this girl a while back.
That's where most fights start.
And you know what? And she came to, I tell the girl, like, if I'm with her, hey, like, if a guy continues to talk to you, then you maybe haven't set, like, the right boundaries. However, like, if he doesn't get it and he's been drinking, like,
there are some guys that there are no boundaries.
Right. And I told him, I was like, hey, man, listen, like, she's with me, was as nice as I possibly could have been. Like, let me buy you a beer. And, like, 2 minutes later, he grabbed her, and then that was it for me. But that's somebody that, a woman who couldn't defend herself.
No.
You know what I mean? So then for me, it's like, all right, well, that's my job. And if I don't do that, then I'm a pussy, you know. Then I allow it, and I don't like that either.
I don't think it's about you being a pussy. I think you're right when you say it's your job. I think gender roles have been kind of
yeah, we're gonna go down this fucking route.
They've kind of blurred in coming times. But I'll be the first person to say, like, I am toxic with my masculinity, 1,000%, and I don't give a fuck. Right. Because when it comes time for shit to go down, you hope to God you have a toxic masculine man around you. For sure. And I agree with you when you said that it's your job to protect your woman. And by the way, the answer to that question for me is very similar. It's like, in order to protect that which I find dear.
Yeah,
that
your family,
would be,
the people close
I
to
find
you.
my life dear, and I'll defend my life. I find my family dear, and I will defend my family. I find my property dear.
For sure.
And I will defend my property. But outside of those, like, extreme cases, it really does take me a lot to even get, like, I tend to get more upset when someone messes with the people that I love admire than I do for myself, because I'm in control of myself. So I'm like, whatever, fuck it. But if it's like my wife, my daughter, friends,
somebody that can't necessarily
I tend to get a little fired
up.
And
and usually, man, I feel like it is really like it's people that pick on people who they know can't defend themselves. Yes. And that's why, full circle here, why I feel like martial arts is just so important from a young age, because I feel like it's like the same thing with guns. You know what I mean? Like if you know somebody's got a gun, you're probably not going to break into their house, right? If you know the person can't defend themselves, though, it's like, all right, well.
I'll go a step further, though. You don't know who has a gun.
Fair.
You might not have one, might have one. There might be 20 in this room, there might be none.
For sure.
But if you always operate under the purview that there could be one, suddenly everyone starts being a little bit more humble.
Exactly.
It's the proximity to danger and the proximity to power. Sometimes being close to power makes you feel powerful. That's a delusion. But sometimes in the process, like having the same thought that, you know, I have a gun, therefore I'm safe. Good luck with that.
Right.
Good luck with that.
Right.
Especially if you're not trained with a firearm.
For sure.
Just like if you know, you're a big guy and you might think like I'm a big guy, I can get away with it. Good luck with that if you're not trained with your body.
For sure.
I agree with you 100%. But to piggyback off of that second point you made, like, this is my job and if I don't do it, I'm a pussy. No. It's your job and there is no secondary.
Fair.
If you did or didn't do it, it doesn't matter because now it's your job.
Right.
So if you go out there and fight this guy and get your ass beat, are you a pussy?
No.
If you don't fight, are you a pussy?
If you don't fight, I feel like you're man, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this.
What if you diffuse the situation? What if you just leave the bar? Oh, he grabbed you? Let's go. Let's get out of this situation entirely.
Nah, because you know what? There might be a guy who can't do something about it.
But what if it escalates?
And that guy thinks that it's okay.
What if that guy has a gun? You don't know.
What if? I mean, what if? I don't know. I don't know.
Are you willing to take that chance on?
Probably not. No, but again, this was 4 or 5 years ago, so maybe different thinking than I have now.
Totally.
No,
understand.
if now, I would probably handle myself a little bit different.
Would you leave the situation or would you escalate it?
I would have left the situation before it got to that point.
I agree 100%.
And I like I said, Friday was my first time out in a very long time. So again, I don't run into this a lot because I don't go to places where I put myself in that situation. I'd much rather like go to dinner and have a couple of drinks, and I don't have to worry about it.
No,
and that's a big reason of why I don't go out, because I don't want to have to deal with it.
Well, it's not even about you going out or the proximity to alcohol or any of these things. It's the wisdom of understanding your circumstances and surroundings.
Yeah.
It's a skill set that men have to adapt to because we are the first line as defenders and attackers.
For sure.
And it's something that I think women try to throw a bad rap on. And I think if women understood their surroundings the way men did, you'd get a lot less. I'm going to go down this rabbit hole. You know when there's like some sort of sexual assault case or whatever, and you start hearing some of these stories. Some of these stories are horrific. Like, I was walking down the street, broad daylight, and some guy like came up to me.
For sure.
Duly noted that can happen, and by no means is that there's no due diligence you could have done ahead of time to prevent that situation.
Absolutely.
That's not what I'm saying. But, you know, I was alone getting trashed. I was surrounded by these like alpha male guys, and should they have known better? Absolutely. Should they check one another? Absolutely. Should all these things happen? Absolutely. Simultaneously, understand what predicament you're putting yourself into. Just like I wouldn't put myself in a bar full of people that don't like me. They're drunk, well equipped with whatever it is that they have. I wouldn't put myself in that situation.
Right.
And if shit started escalating, I would leave that situation. I'm not looking to diffuse or escalate. Absolutely. I will just leave.
Fair.
I'm done. I'm out. I think if more people just put onus and responsibility on themselves for what circumstances they put themselves in, a lot of times you will, I hate the term fuck around and find out.
Yeah. No, but I mean,
because why would you?
Right. No, I get it 100%. I feel the same way. That's why I don't, you know, if I am like dating a girl, I don't like to go to clubs. I don't like to do that stuff in general.
Isn't that weird though, that like we assimilate and accept that, but like if you tell a woman that, like, now you're shaming her and all these other things.
Yeah, or like, oh, you can go to the club but I can't. Or it's like, dude, yes, absolutely. And dude, why? So many girls tell me, how can, you know, like, no, because that's the way it is.
Sorry, you live in reality.
Exactly.
50%, and this is what I say to all women. I think all women should be trained, both with physical capabilities and firearms. Why? Because 50% of the human population is a danger to you.
Exactly.
A 13-year-old boy in a live encounter could fuck up a 25-year-old trained woman.
Absolutely.
A 13-year-old boy could fuck that girl up.
Yep.
That doesn't happen to me.
Sure.
And I'm 5'8".
Right.
A $170. I'm not even like exceptionally gifted in any physical attribute, right? So yes, operate in the realm of reality, and then maybe bad circumstances will happen a little less.
People don't like to look at that, man. They want to just, well, we're here, and like, I get it, dude. I do. I don't. I mean,
are we trying to not be rude? Are we trying to?
And that's what I always ask. I'm like, do you think that what I'm saying to you is me? Like, do you think that's me being an asshole, or do you think that's me being honest with you? Because I'd rather be honest with you and hurt your feelings than me not be honest with you and you just get what you want and fuck around and find out. You know what I mean?
So what's worse, being rude initially on the forefront, or accept the delusion, and then if something, and by the way, I always leave the caveat that shit can happen. Like I said, that has nothing to do with the circumstances or the choices you've made.
For sure.
However, vast minority of the cases, vast majority of the cases are not the latter. So it's like, yeah, you went downtown by yourself, or maybe you went downtown with just one girl, and there wasn't a guy there, and all these other things.
That's the first problem.
If you go,
don't go downtown.
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
shit,
I mean, then you get to, why don't you feel comfortable going downtown? Right? Then
why would you feel comfortable going downtown?
It's an onion of an issue.
Why
is downtown?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, downtown sucks because. Have you ever been to like Wash Ave after the hours of 9 p.m.?
I have.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not gonna enjoy that.
I've been there like twice, and I'm like, you know what? This is like the definition of like fucking around and finding out.
Well, it's also the same place where, you know, people just shoot you and pull you out of the car and get into the car and leave, and it's like not even on the news because it's just so fucking common.
Can I tell you a story that like still racks me to this day? Because I think of myself as like a hard man or whatever. My wife invited us out. Some guy she was working with does stand-up comedy on the side, and she was like, hey, I'm going to go support my coworker. He's actually the headliner. Hilarious guy, by the way.
Sure.
And the night was fantastic up until this point. She goes, he's going to be doing some comedy. It's on Washington Avenue. I go, what time? And she's like, why does that matter? I go, well, if we're going to Washington Avenue, based on the time, I know whether or not I'm bringing my gun. And she's like, are you serious? I go, 100%. Fun fact.
See the question, though, are you serious?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, yeah.
So I was strapped that night, and the night was perfect. No problems whatsoever. As we were walking back to our car, I paid for garage parking, but like it was like a street over. There was closer parking, but I paid for the garage one because I was like, hey, if shit happens, people aren't going to like the third floor. You know what I mean? They're looking for those flats because they can get to the most amount of cars as quickly as possible. Right. If you have to go up and downstairs, people don't even want to go up and downstairs for like their life, let alone commit crime. Anyway, so that's what I did. But as we were walking there was a guy that was, and this was during COVID time, so like the mask was
normal,
common.
Yeah.
It's funny though how the nonverbals immediately rang off to me. My wife was in front of me. I grabbed her hand. I pulled her back behind me. I was like, "Get behind me." The guy walks past us. Looked very dangerous. By the way, white guy. So like, fun fact there.
Why do you?
Takes a gun.
It's funny that you even but I'm just saying it's funny that you even have to say that because you know a lot of people would assume the other way.
That's why I say white guy.
No,
that's why I say white guy.
I get it.
But I noticed it immediately. I don't know if it was like the way he was walking, the fact that he had his hand in an awkward position for someone in an idle state walking.
Sure.
I was like, this guy either has a gun, a knife, a something. I don't know what it is.
Sure.
Sure enough, it was a gun or a knife. And he started going, he hops the fence to the garage that we didn't park at, the parking lot that we didn't park at, and started immediately slashing tires indiscriminately.
Just because.
Dude,
what the fuck?
Now, here's the part that gets me, though.
Sure.
So here I am. I know how to fight, and I have a gun. This guy has a knife. If I wanted to, I could take care of the situation.
Absolutely.
But the very first thing I thought of was, my wife is here. I told her, Bruna, go to the car, make sure we're not, like, our tires aren't slashed or anything like that. Because what if this guy has multiple guys? And then, like, I bring out my gun. I don't know what kind of situation I'm in. And then the second thing I thought of, and this is terrible for me to think of, it's not my problem. Isn't that shitty?
I mean, no, because I feel like you can't control it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like, well, I gotta handle my stuff. Like I gotta make sure my family's good.
But I like to think of myself as a provider and a protector. And
I agree.
I agree. I want to be the stoic man,
for sure,
who does the right thing.
But what is the right thing in that situation?
Yeah, and I've been wrestling
like,
with myself. Like, what do I do? Do I shoot this guy because he's slashing tires? Like, that doesn't seem like a justified.
Or call the police, which they won't even show up.
Should I have yelled like, "Hey," and then like take my gun out? Now do I,
But then what happens? Maybe he has.
There was a bunch of bystanders.
Pull a gun and then.
Well, there's a bunch of other people that aren't seeing this, but are all around us. So I'm like, if I take my gun out and I yell at this guy, how many of the people will fucking
Think that-
freak out and now think I'm an enemy or something? I'm a tattooed guy, you know.
Sure,
I could easily pass as
Sure,
like someone causing trouble.
You never know, man.
You never know. Isn't
never
it
know.
funny how like we always have this idea of like what you would do in certain circumstances? And like, don't get me wrong, there are some definite cases where I know I would excel at, specifically to defend my wife and daughter.
For sure.
However, it's funny how quickly I thought about certain circumstances and priorities. I'm like, is it my car? No. Is it my family? No. I was like, it's other people's cars.
Yeah.
Is what he's doing wrong? Yes. Could he be causing harm to people? Possibly. Does he have more people? I don't know. It was all going like
also
10
like,
seconds.
Dude, let's take it to the full extreme. What if you're somewhere, right? What if you're in a mall or you're in a movie theater, right? And somebody comes in with a gun. What is your first thought? My first thought, and I don't know if this is fucked up. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But this is what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to try to get my family out.
Oh.
First.
Yeah.
I'm going to get them away, and then if it's one guy, maybe I have a gun. You know, I carry
It depends.
a gun.
It depends. If I have a gun, I don't know. But
You'd want to figure out a way to get them out as fast as possible. Maybe that is, you know, I don't know. But I'm just saying, right? It's like there's so many different scenarios and so many different what ifs that you just, and it's hard in that situation too, because no one situation is exactly the same. So being able to like make that decision,
I think that's the wiser choice, and I don't fault you for it.
Yeah,
I guess
like,
maybe you're putting us. Could also be put in a situation where, you know, there's one door in and out like a movie theater.
Right.
Let's just say.
right, fair.
And then you know,
Yeah.
it's you or him, and if it's him, you did defend your family. And if it's you,
Right,
it won't be you alone, unfortunately.
right.
What do you think about all this? Like, out of curiosity, since we're talking about the topic, what do you think about the Second Amendment and like the issues that we have surrounding it?
Dude, okay, so I have this conversation a lot. I carry a gun. I like guns.
Do you go shooting regularly?
Pretty often.
Do you know how to clean and disassemble and reassemble your gun?
Yep. So I actually just ordered a new gun. It's not here yet. It's a Glock 19. Okay. I was carrying a 365 SIG.
Both of these are handguns, by the way.
Yep, both are handguns. Yeah.
Some people might not know.
Yeah.
Oh, the Glock. You don't like your SIG?
I do like the SIG. I do like
I have
the
a
SIG.
Ruger, and I'll tell you what.
You like
that
it?
thing fits perfectly around. Anyway, but
so smaller guy. I got actually the 19 was my first gun ever. First gun. I shot the 17 and the 19 at the same time. Got the 19. I like the SIG. It's small. It's compact. I like the 9 millimeter. But I like the Glock. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it, and if I don't like the way it feels or whatever, I'll just sell it. But I agree with the Second Amendment. I think it's awesome to be able to defend yourself and defend your family and things like that. I will say this. I feel like America is one of the only, if not the only place where you have shootings as often and as many people as we do. What I mean by that is, I lived in Europe. Guns are extremely difficult to acquire, like really, really hard. Unless you are trained, meaning you do private security or a police officer. Some police officers don't even carry guns, by the way. But that type of situation, or you're an extremely successful person and you go through the proper channels and the proper training to be able to acquire a handgun or a weapon of whatever sort, not just guns, batons, brass knuckles, whatever. It's extremely difficult. And you don't see the situations that you see in the U.S. I never once have been in Greece or anywhere in Europe where I've gone out and been in an altercation where I was worried a person had a gun. Never. Here, it's completely different. And I like even more to the state, you know what I mean? Like if you go to like Illinois, like some places in Illinois, nobody has guns, you know what I mean? It's a very more of a liberal state, and like people are a little bit more, but you go to a place like Texas, it's where you fuck around and find out, you know? So I think at this point it's too little too late. I don't think you can take away guns. I don't think that you can, I mean, maybe make it a little bit more difficult to get guns, but like,
do you think that's the solution, to take them? Like when I say take them
no,
away,
I don't know what the solution is. I think it's tough, man, because there's a lot of like crazy people here in the U.S. There's a lot of crazy people all over, but I think we just make it extremely easy for them to get guns. Like it's really easy. But the problem is that all the criminals have guns. And that's never going to change. No matter what the government does, no matter what they try to take, no matter what they're going to do, the criminals are always going to have guns.
What if I told you the whole reason for the Second Amendment wasn't even for criminals?
It wasn't.
It was for your own government.
Of course it was. But we're so far past that now to where
we are.
Okay, fair. So do you think that it's possible to get these illegal firearms and in a situation where, because what's going to stop a bad guy with a gun?
I have
a good guy.
I have one solution to every problem in America: economics. It solves everything.
Fair.
Abortion. Well, if you had more money in your pocket, you'd feel like you could have a baby.
For sure. For sure.
People that are quote unquote, not mentally well. If we had the resources dedicated appropriately, we could get them the services and help that they would need. We wouldn't have to worry about that.
Fair, 100%. But also with that is like you get into like big pharma, and what pills people are taking, and what
corruption and economics are mutually exclusive. Meaning you don't need corruption in order to have economic prosperity.
I see what you're saying.
I agree with you. I'm not saying like a complete open market, but what I am saying is we have already the basis for economic prosperity in this country as is. Your form of government allows for it. Your balances of power dictate it. Mm-hmm. And I would even say that the masses are ready for it. America has a higher quality of life, and if you tell these people that they have to reduce that quality of life, they'll be the first persons that are up in arms about it.
Sure.
What you have right now, more than anything, is not sort of like an economic barrier, but corruption. But not
so corrupt.
But not like corruption within business. Corruption within the legislators.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think you actually have to change anything regarding like the percentages of taxes coming in. Mm-hmm. You could make sweeping legislation on two things. And if you did these two things, you could simultaneously handle both the front and the back end. Number one, a simple tax code where I'll tell you right now, I pay around $3,000 to $4,000 for my accountant every year. Mm-hmm. And my accountant will bring me in another $20,000 to $25,000.
Sure.
So he pays for himself and then some.
Right.
And that's for me. Imagine what these guys making millions, if not billions of dollars a year are doing. They have legal teams and, accountants and finance bearers and analysts and all this other stuff. They have lobbyists on Capitol Hill. Sure. They have all the premeditative measures to ensure that they will pay a lower effective tax rate than your standard W-2 employee.
Right.
So you have to simplify the tax code and make it like a consumption tax or whatever, flat fee. I don't care what it is that you do. Yeah. Make it a one-pager.
Sure.
This is what you're going to pay based on this much income.
That's fair. And I think, too, also on that is like, you see all these people, like, I guess maybe not all these people, but I speak for myself. I don't mind taxes. I think taxes are a good thing. I do think there should be a little bit more, I think we should know a little bit more as to where they're going.
Don't you think that's a blanket statement? You don't mind taxes.
Well,
what happens if your money goes to something that you don't want it to go to?
Fair. But that's kind of what I'm saying is like, if we knew where they're going, like if we know.
You know where they're going right now?
All the time?
Yeah.
In what way?
Military-industrial complex, subsidies for big pharma, big energy. You already know where your tax dollars are going to.
But there's so many tax dollars that I feel like aren't going to the right places.
Yeah, but you just said you like taxes.
I feel like they're not a bad thing. I feel like.
But what happens if they're going to things that are bad?
Well, then, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
I think what you're trying to get to is paying taxes should feel patriotic. Like you
feel like it's going to something.
You're supplementing the country that you're taking full ownership of, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
It should be this patriotic. I want to pay for better schools. I want to pay for better policing and firefighters and better roads and a well-funded military and a veterans affairs that's properly funded and Social Security and all these other things. I want that. Sure. That's not where the tax dollars go.
Sure. And that's like, that was like kind of one of my arguments. It's a whole nother thing. But like, I was having a conversation with someone and they're like, oh, like it's okay to defund the police. And when they.
You're talking to an idiot.
Well, so when they told me this, I had been doing jiu-jitsu for like 4 months at this time. And I said, you're wrong, and here's why I'm going to tell you you're wrong. I said, there's a guy, police officer, that came into the gym, never trained before, was 190 pounds, and I was at the time 140. I could control this man without any issue.
Yeah.
I had been training for 4 months. So explain to me how taking their money away, right, and not investing in their training and making them more competent and more able to defend us and more, like, and then they kind of just looked at me and they were like, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. And it's like, well, yeah, it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you want these people are like you're sitting here saying like, don't pay them. Like, that's not gonna fucking do anything. That's gonna make everything worse. And you see it in all these cities that did that. Like, it's like, did you seriously? Like, there's people that are way smarter than me make these decisions. Like, that should be pretty fucking obvious.
This is what happens when people don't know their history. Why do you have public programs? Why? Why do you have public education? Why do you have public policing? Why do you have public firefighters? Why do these things exist?
To help.
To help. But to help who?
Us, people.
People, but who? Everybody. Rich,
the community,
poor,
everyone. Yeah.
When a police officer, if something goes on, do they stop you and say, "Hey, what economic class are you in?"
Right.
Oh, middle class. Well, we're gonna leave and we'll come back in 5 minutes because you're not, an aristocrat or someone of high value. The lack of public funding for things will then subsequently increase the privatization of those things. If you take away funding for education, for police, with police, I'm also going to say law enforcement because there's like detectives, investigators, the whole umbrella, right?
Yeah.
Law enforcement, education, social work, such as Liz with the work that she did, right, for mental health with disturbed youth, to something as insequential, like we don't even think about it, but like sewers and public water, right? That's your tax dollars going to work. I do think there is a need for some government oversight and some public solution to certain things that generally uplift the life of everybody. Sure. I want everyone more educated. I want everyone more safe. I want everyone to have clean water. Like, that's of course. And I'm actually okay with giving a portion of my income for those reasons. For sure. The problem is, and this is what I was getting at, like, so if you simplify the tax code, it'll make it easier for everybody to pay their fair share, quote unquote. Subsequently, you have to remove immediately, yesterday, I would prefer, omnibus spending bills. There should be no bill that is accompanied with another bill to spend our money. Makes sense. I don't swipe my card one time and all my monthly bills are paid for, all my groceries are delivered to my door. Those are instant individual transactions. Yep. That's what I think the U.S. government needs to do. That's what I think state and local government needs to do. Every transaction, every time you need to spend money, I want a transaction cost for that. Yeah. And I want it to be public accounting. Dude,
that makes so much sense. Honestly, this is probably one of the things that I'm like, need to do a lot more research on. Which I don't know a ton about it. I mean, I have an idea and I know enough, but I do probably need to learn a little bit more. But that like I don't feel like what you're saying is like too much. Like I don't feel like it should be, and I'm sure there's more that goes into it. I'm sure that it's not, but like I don't feel like that's that difficult. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. That's my idea. I don't know. I'm not a politician. I'll never be a politician. I don't want to be a politician. Yeah. But it's just,
I thought about it for a second there. Did I tell you that?
No, you didn't.
I was going to run for state office, but then I went down to Jefferson City and I realized like most of these guys.
I think you did tell me. Okay, yeah.
Most of these guys are like mouth breathers, like low IQ fucking idiots.
Sure.
And I went to Jefferson City and I was like, Jesus Christ! I was surrounded by ineptitude, and I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to run for office so that I can come down three days a week down to this shithole?
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah. No,
then I saw the lobbyists, and then I realized how cheap it is to buy a politician. Yeah. I can run for office, and I could spend like $50,000 on like a campaign, right? And it's already predetermined based on the districting.
For sure.
So like in my district, I live in the city. I'm not going to tell you specifically where, but if I ran as a Republican, I'm going to lose no matter what.
100%.
If I ran as an independent, I'm going to lose no matter what.
For sure.
I have to run as a Democrat, even if it's within my like ideas or not. And to be completely specific, I'm like an RFK. I was going to vote for RFK Jr. If that kind of puts you where my politics align. He went with Trump, so I voted for Trump. But I was going to vote for RFK Jr. I can throw $50,000 onto a campaign and lose if I'm not in the right party. Sure. I can throw down $20,000 and win if I am in the right party, and then I'm one of 198 representatives.
Right.
Or I can take $300,000 and I can buy the votes that I need. I can get whatever legislation I want passed.
Mm-hmm.
So then you start looking at America, the bureaucratic system, and all these other things.
It's crazy.
Then you start thinking like, well, yeah, no wonder the best and brightest don't represent, because the best and brightest are too busy making money, being productive, actually generating wealth for themselves and their posterior.
Exactly.
And then what they're doing is they're just buying the legislators.
Yeah.
Now, is that good or bad? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I used to think Citizens United should be repealed. I don't think that anymore.
I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say if that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, do you
think money in politics is good?
I'll tell you what I don't think is good. I don't think it's good for somebody to come into politics and become a millionaire.
Ooh.
I think that's...
Elaborate. What if they become a millionaire because they're doing a great job?
Fine. I would rather have...
Who's to say what's a great job?
Well,
a great job for who?
So, I think that if somebody's a millionaire, or maybe not a millionaire, because I feel like right now, like in this world that we live in, $1 million is not really that much money.
Do you have $1 million?
No, I don't.
It's still a lot of money.
And it is, but I feel like for somebody...
If you make $400,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of earners in America. That's the top, like, 0.0098% earners in the world.
I guess my thing is, for somebody who makes, we'll say $10 million, $5 million, right? Enough to live a fantastic life. If they get into politics, when you make that much money, do you think that politics will change their life from a financial standpoint more? Like, if I make $10 million, right? If somebody comes to bribe me or somebody comes to make money where I'm going to make $100,000 in this position, like that for me, as if I'm making that much money, doesn't really make a big difference for me. So I'm going to try to do what I feel is right versus somebody who makes $250,000, right? And then they get bribed with $100,000 and it's like, all right, well, you know what? This $100,000 makes a huge difference in my life. I'm going to vote for this, even if I don't feel like it's the right thing. That's what I don't feel like is right.
I like the mentality, but you're equating money to what I call intellect, because I think money is a direct correlation to your ability to garner money, which is a direct correlation to your skill set or intellect. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that if you don't make a lot of money, you're dumb. That's not what I'm saying.
Sure.
And I don't think, trust me, I've met a lot of these wealthy people. I don't think that if you have money, you're smart.
For sure.
But if you're talking about the general correlation, if you were to take 100 wealthy, 100 poor people, start asking them some questions, it would become pretty apparent why they're wealthy and poor, right? I'm not.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
Race, gender, none of that shit matters. We're now talking about like
sure. Your
IQ.
answer, you're right,
your
yeah.
IQ. Because you could be a blue collar worker, start your own business, and make six figures. I got a buddy who never took the ACT, makes like $240,000 a year, has 6 employees. At HVAC
America,
company.
baby, America.
Beautiful, right? So
yeah.
I consider him one of the smartest people I know. If someone's making $10 million a year versus $50,000 a year,
sure.
Why do you think the guy that is making $10 million a year would want to get into politics? He's making $10 million a year. The fuck does he care?
Do something.
He's
good.
making so much money, he doesn't care.
Fair, but
the politics of this land, outside of nuclear war, don't affect him.
Yeah, but they affect maybe the people around him.
No, he's $10 million a year. How many people do you hang out with make $10 an hour?
$10 an hour?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say like $15 an hour is
no,
like
$10 an hour. How many people do you walk around
No,
with?
I don't think any.
And I don't know what you make, but let's say we did that. We took your salary, and we 50x'd it. How many people would you hang around with that make $50 an hour? The guy making $10 million an hour doesn't know normal people.
For sure.
Outside of the people that work for him.
That's fair.
It doesn't affect him. Doesn't affect his circle. Doesn't affect his relatives because they're going to be taken care of because of him if they like him.
Right.
If he's not taking care of his relatives, guess what? He's not talking to those relatives, so that doesn't affect him. And this is how you get into echo chambers. People make the mistake of thinking that because of the way they think they would handle things, that everyone else should handle things.
Sure.
They don't understand what it's like to be on the other side.
Right.
If you're wealthy, you don't know what it's like to be poor. And if you're poor, no offense, you don't know what it's like to be wealthy.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I just think that we put too much impetus on the others to think the way we do.
Right.
But the way we think is a culmination of our life experience.
Absolutely. Where we grew up, where we came from. Yeah, for sure.
The people that I like the most, the people that I genuinely enjoy the most, are the people that grew up poor and have some success. Right. They're like a perfect combination of both. Right. Intellectual, hardworking, empathetic, shrewd, and strong-minded.
Right.
They have like the best characteristics. They have enough humanity in them.
For sure.
For me to call them friend, but they have enough intellect for me to not be able to take advantage of them.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I agree.
So the person making $10 million a year, he's not running for politics.
I mean, there's a lot. Well, I feel like, Donald Trump was like pretty fucking rich. He was before he got into politics.
And that's why I think he's a political enigma. I think people like Vivek. I think people like Donald Trump. I think people like, Elon Musk now is getting more political by the day.
Right. It's interesting to see that, though.
I think it's patriotism in its rawest form. When you have everything to lose and nothing to gain because you've benefited by the system that is the status quo. Elon Musk made, at one point he was the richest man in the world.
Sure.
With the system as it is now. Now, because everyone's going to start like, we're on this and that. Are there initiatives that he would want to benefit from? Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there is. There's the human element in all things.
Right.
But what I am trying to say is, when you got millionaires and billionaires now running for politics, when they can just buy the politicians, why do you think that is? Because they see the direction of the country.
Yeah.
Now, is Trump like an infallible man? I actually think he's like honestly low IQ. Really, like whenever I hear him talk and stuff like that, he never strikes me as an intellectual guy.
Fair.
But do I think he has brass balls? Yeah, dude. Yeah, I do. And I think that's what you need in a leader. I don't
agree.
want a guy that knows everything. That doesn't exist. I want a guy that has the right people around him. Yeah. Now, does he have the right people around him? That's the question.
We'll find out.
That's the question. No, we're finding out now. And I got to be honest with you. Some people.
Yeah, fair.
Some people know.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like most of us are probably not going to agree with 100% of anybody, So it's like, fuck, man. Like, is my life going to change that much? I don't know. Probably not. I'm 26. So, like, really, there's been 2 elections that I've been able to vote. This was the first time I voted ever. But the one before that, I was in Greece, and obviously I wasn't 18, so I couldn't vote. So I've started to try to get into it a little bit more. But I'll tell you what man, I want a leader. I don't think I'm ever going to agree with anybody, with everything any president ever does. But I'll tell you this. I've lived in other countries. I've seen other places. I love America. I think that the amount of opportunity that we have here is by far the best. I think America is the best country in the world. And I think we need somebody in power, whoever that is, that people respect. I think that's very, very important.
When you say people, what do you mean by
other
people?
countries?
So leaders?
Okay. I think America, maybe I'm wrong because I'm 26 years old, but maybe just growing up here, I feel like in the 90s and maybe like the early 2000s, like you go to other countries and they're like, you're like, I'm American, and people are like, holy shit, and now you go to America, you go to other countries and people are like, okay, like that's cool, I guess, but like it's just different. Like I think there's a very different image of America now than America 10, 15, 25, 30 years ago.
I agree with you, but can I add 2 pieces of rebuttal? Number one, that was always bound to happen. America very much benefited from the end of World War I and World War II, specifically World War II, because it got us out of the Great Depression. More predominantly, it allowed us to facilitate the rebuilding of Europe. So in a lot of ways, the reason why, like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, America had its boom is because the rest of the world was quite literally rebuilding from a massive war. And not just like the European countries, but you also had the Eurasian Peninsula and Asia itself, right? I mean, ask Japan how they felt about World War II.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So this realigning of the world structure and its perception of America was always bound to happen. However, what should have happened is a mutual respect. It goes from, oh, you're American to, an American, cool.
You're right.
Now it's almost like a disrespect.
Right.
You're American, you're fat and stupid. Are they wrong?
Dude, it's so funny.
Are they wrong?
Dude, okay, so I gotta tell you the story. So, 2015, I came back from high school. I was in high school in Greece, and my best friend came with me, and we fucking landed in Chicago, dude. And this guy literally looks at me.
Was that a culture shock?
He goes, why the fuck is everybody so fat? Word for word, completely serious. Why the fuck is everybody so fat? I was like, dude, welcome to America, man. Like,
so you were born in Greece?
I was born here.
In America?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born here.
Why did you spend time in Greece if you don't mind me asking?
I'm half Greek, half American. So I spent most of my summers growing up in Greece, and then I moved there in high school. Okay. Graduated high school, came back to the U.S., almost stayed.
Graduated in high school in Greece.
Graduated high school in Greece, yep.
Did you have dual citizenship? You were born here, obviously.
I had citizenship there. I don't have a passport. Because in order to get a passport, you have... So I had a green card.
Wait, you were born in America?
Born in America. I have an American passport.
Passport. Forgive me.
Because
I was like, what do you mean you don't have a passport?
You have to be in the military.
To get a Greek passport?
So all Greek...
Well, luckily for you, you don't need a Greek passport.
Yeah, exactly,
you got an American passport.
Exactly. So, I debated it for a while. I did because I loved Greece.
Oh, okay.
But... Then I came here for school and I saw the opportunity and I was like, yeah,
You said you're 26, so you were born 98? How old were you when the economic collapse of Greece happened?
So that was 2008.
Yeah.
So I was 10.
Did you feel that? Wait. You spent the summers there until high school.
Yeah, but my family, when I was born, like my grandparents, I remember they'd come here and they'd bring me like 15 soccer jerseys. Okay, like they'd bring me so much shit. And then I remember like 2009, 2010, it was like not as much. And then I moved there and I was like, holy shit, like they're still not recovered from it, And I think anywhere you live, like if you have money, it's as good as it's gonna be good.
When you say still, you mean in 2024?
Yeah, like even now, like, dude, my goal is to like make enough money to where I can go there and I don't know that I want to retire there, but I do want to have a house and I want to be able to go there and like do what I want, which is anywhere, But I feel like you can live.
Where in Greece?
Athens.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
We have a property in Cyprus.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it. I love the people. It's just the food, everything. I'm going this summer. It'll be great. But it's more of just like you can get by here, not making a ton of money. You can work. You can like do like. I have friends, man, that work like as servers. Like here, you might be a server in an okay restaurant and make $300, $400 in a night.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I have friends that make like $5 an hour. You know what I mean? They bust their ass. Yeah, and it's like it's fucked up, So every time I go there, I try to like tip and take care of people and just But
can I bounce off that though?
Yeah.
Do you know why America works? I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this, and I think I've come up with the answer, truthfully. And we're gonna clip this one because I want to. I want to hear what people say. America works not because the quality of life for the average person is good. America works because we have this ability to say there is no limit on your success here. If you succeed in America,
right,
we will not inhibit you. We will promote you. Mm-hmm. So you could be a server making $300, $400 a night, which, by the way, to some people that might sound like a lot of money. To other people that sounds like, wow,
for sure.
How long is the night?
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
But because we have this ability, you can start a business whenever you want. You can get into any field you want. You have the best universities in the world here.
For sure.
You have the highest propensity for individual value gain in America. And that's why America works.
Yeah.
When we say freedom, sometimes we attribute it to like amendments and the Bill of Rights.
Sure.
When I say freedom, I can see what the best version of Arion can become in America.
Exactly.
In any other country, at some point I will hit a limit unbeknownst to me without any there's no action I can take. There's no input I can give to change that. There will be a limit. Mm-hmm. In America, there is no limit. And that's why it works.
And I don't think people. I think you understand that. I don't think a lot of people understand that.
I think they do inherently. Ask 10 people,
Fair.
where will you be in 10 years from now? If they say right where I'm at right now, they're already lost. They're already lost. You're not fixing them.
Dude, so I do interviews for work, and I ask people. That's like one of like the biggest questions I ask is like, what are some goals that you have for yourself? Really simple question.
Do people take a second?
I just did an interview 2 days ago. You know what their answer was to me? I want to have a family. I want to have a house.
That's a good goal.
It's a good goal, right? And then I say, okay, cool. What's your goal long term? Meaning after 5 years, after 10 years, what do you want for yourself? What do you want for your family? You would be amazed at the answers that I get. Some of them are amazing, it's like awesome, shoot for the stars, aim for the moon. Other ones are like, I don't know. Like they don't even know. They've not thought about it. They don't have any like that for me is like, do people not think about this stuff? What they want to do? Do they like? I love it. A house, a family, like that's awesome, dude. It's like that's great. It's a fantastic goal, and it's like a lot of people think about that, and that's what they're super important to them, and that's awesome. And some people are like, well, I don't know. I guess I want to just be in a job where like I make enough to get by. I've gotten that answer before, and it's like, okay, I kind of respect it, but like, well, I don't think that they quite understand the opportunity is what I'm getting at. Like,
I'll say this. There are different people out in the world, and just like you have guys that will, risk takers and entrepreneurs, you'll have the people that want the sustainability of the 9 to 5, and there's no wrong approach.
Absolutely.
But even that question, remember what I said earlier about every issue is solved by economics, including this issue.
Right.
How hard is it to dream about the future when you're worried about today? How hard is it to start saving for your first house when you can't even put, fill up the fridge?
Yeah.
Every issue, when you boil it down, I'll go a step further. Let's see where I want to go with this one. Oh man, I want to pick a good, wholesome example of this. Trans rights, gay rights, black-white relations, all these other things. Do you think black people and white people would have problems if the socioeconomic boundaries were the same?
No.
I agree. I agree.
I
think if black people and white people were making the exact same amount of money, what could they bitch about? On average, not like, you know what I mean, but on average. If they were making, and by the way, we all have the same opportunities, but if you are going to exclude the history of slavery in this country, then you're not arguing in good faith.
Right.
I agree that there's, bad history, but I would also agree that, if you're black, go to Europe, go to Asia, go to Africa, see how they treat you there. Have fun.
Dude, oh my
Have
God.
fun.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you just said that because they don't.
But it's a stem of economics.
Yeah, but right. No, I get it. But so we won't even go down that. No, so I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy that it's like, dude, I have this
if you're a woman and you don't feel safe in America, go to India. Go to India and walk down the street as a woman, unaccompanied by a man. Have fun with that.
I told my mom this too.
Before you start bitching about this country.
So my mom's a teacher and she works in a lower income district, and there's a lot of kids from other countries that are, immigrants and don't even speak English yet. And
God bless that woman.
Dude, for real.
Doing the Lord's work.
For real. And she's
How long has she been doing
that
for?
Dude, she's been in education for like ever since I can remember.
God bless.
Which is another thing too, like works her ass off, definitely deserves to be making, I don't know how much she makes, but I know she deserves to be making more, right? It's but
if you ask anybody,
but
everyone deserves to be making more.
Yeah, but
my producer's like, yo, I can be making more.
Yeah, fair. But we had that conversation, and I was like, it's sad, dude. It's sad when people come here and they have to go through that struggle, and like, she's like, well, I have kids who have dirt floors. It's like, okay, that sucks. It's fucking terrible. Do you think, and my question to her was, do you think they're leaving marble floors to come here for dirt floors? When I answer that question, and I don't mean that like literally, what I mean that is like, they're in a certain situation that's rough, whether that's crime, whether that's economics, whatever the case is. Why do they want to come here and live that type of life? And I think that the reason they want to come here and live that type of life in the beginning and go through that is because of the opportunity.
unfettered opportunity.
Right? Like, and it
By the way, people will leave marble floors for dirt if they know that the roof doesn't exist and then they can hit the sky.
Exactly.
I would do that. My parents did that.
Exactly.
They could have stayed in Albania, comfortable. They knew everybody, could have been fine, lived middle-class lives. Instead, they decided to come to America and struggle until the day my mom literally died. And my father, luckily for him, gets to see the fruits of his labor. But I saw my parents choose a poor existence in expense of a middle-class life because my brother and I.
Right.
And now we will live a life so astronomically different. Like truly
than what they live.
The trajectory of the Zekthi name. Like that one decision my parents made to leave Albania, come to America.
For sure.
And everything that would entail will have ripple effects for generations.
For sure.
That one decision.
And I told her that. I was like, it's crazy. Like I saw, is there racism in America? Yes, 100%. There's racism
in the
everywhere.
world.
Okay. The amount of racism that's here compared to other places in the world, people do not know. I truly believe that people do not know until they go and they live there and they experience it. Dude, it's crazy. And when you tell them that, it's like, it's kind of like you're being rude, but it's like, that's just the truth, man. That's the way it is. And like, I'm saying that from a place of, I've been there. I've seen it. You know what I mean? So it's police brutality, same situation. Like, people complain about police brutality. Like, go to another country and do something illegal, see what happens.
I think that's why conservatives have such a repulsion to this movement for the minorities. It's not that they want minorities to be held down.
Right.
It's that they want certain people to understand how good they have it. And I think they are both right and wrong.
Sure.
You could want someone to understand how good they are and still appreciate that they want to be better.
Yeah.
I think that's inherently American.
Right.
Like, if you're trans and you want more rights than you're afforded today, by all means fight for it. However, don't ever stand on a flag. Don't ever burn some fucking business. Understand how good you fucking have it. Go to the Middle East.
No, seriously.
And say you're trans.
Yeah.
Have fun with that.
Yeah. Go like they did in New York with the shirt that said Jesus is gay. Go to Palestine and go with a shirt that says Jesus is gay.
Go to Albania and tell them Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Go to Albania and tell them that.
Yeah.
Have fun with that.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's like, okay.
I can appreciate the perspective of progress.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
I want that to happen. But when I say that every issue stems to economics, so does racism.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Because if everyone was more educated with more means, you'd understand the gravity of the situation of the human plight, and you'd understand that racism or race is such a minor factor.
Sure.
Gender is such a minor factor. That the real delusions or the real issues that humanity faces are so monumental and so much bigger than any individual person.
Yep.
My neighbor does not matter. And I don't mean that in like a derogatory way. I mean that in a positive way. What he's doing, what they're doing, I don't fucking care.
Right.
I care about, the direction of, are we doing tariffs? Mm-hmm. And if we're going to do tariffs, how much? For what? With who?
Right.
These are things I care about. Oh, you're black? Cool. Oh, you think you're a woman? Brother, I don't care.
It doesn't affect
I
me.
genuinely don't care. Bold of you to think that this is such an important issue in my life
for sure, dude,
for me to give a fuck.
You know what?
But they get mad when you don't give a fuck. And what I say is, that's economics.
Exactly.
I make enough money to where I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
You don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't either.
You wouldn't give a fuck.
If you're a millionaire and you're a man and you're like, today I'm a woman, ask Bruce Jenner how much, Caitlyn Jenner how much she cares about. She doesn't give a fuck. She voted for Trump. Why? She's got money. These things are not issues.
Right.
They're only issues if you're poor.
Dude, it's crazy.
I hate saying it like that, but it's the absolute truth.
It is.
Think of any problem in your life, with exception to like health.
Health, right.
With exception to like, I'm a wealthy man, I want to find a good woman. Trust me, there are circumstances where money doesn't solve the problem. 99% of the time, more money solves the problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like actually one of my favorite things about MMA is that you go into a gym and there's people of like criminals, cops.
It's a petri dish.
Fucking everybody, dude. And we all just don't give a shit. We, we'll all smoke a joint.
Have you ever heard
together,
the
we'll hang
joke
out,
that
it's
like at every jujitsu class you got cops being trained by criminals? It's a bunch of weed smokers.
No, but it's like, dude, it's so
a bunch
true.
of stoners training
so
cops
true.
how to catch stoners.
It's so true. Like we'll go, we'll like dabble and dibble and here and there and
Hey.
like smoke a joint, right? And the cops like walking through and it's like, hey man, like we're all cool, you know what I mean? And dude, the world would just be so much better of a place if it was like that. But it's funny. I'm
think
sure
you're
you've
right.
seen that way more than me.
Brother,
but
are you
it's like,
kidding me? I remember. I'll tell you a good story, but I want to leave out names for obvious reasons.
Sure.
I was 24 years old. I had trained as police officer for guns and hoses,
Mm-hmm.
and lo and behold, let's say Arion was under the effect of certain substances
Mm-hmm.
and was out in public, being rowdy. I wasn't driving or anything like that, but being rowdy. Guess who was the police officer that had to escort me out of the facility?
Yeah.
The guy that I trained.
man. It's like, yeah.
And I was like, yo. And he's like, hey, come with me.
Yeah, no.
But he was
Appreciate
cool about
you.
it. He was cool about it. And
Yeah.
I often say this. I wonder what you'll think about this. You know how there's this notion that like, all walks of life are acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree with that. Like, be you as long as you're not hurting anybody.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, live and let live, right?
Right,
However, to say that all walks of life are equal is just a delusion.
100%.
If there's any one skill I would promote to youth, it's actually not martial arts or discipline or anything like that. It's social skills. Because we're seeing this trend of isolation, and I can tell you right now, I would not be in the circumstance that I am today if I didn't have my social skills.
100%. Dude. Okay, that's nuts. So, I coach soccer. Just stopped coaching soccer, but it is my one rule as a coach. I mean, I had rules, but my first rule as a coach was like, when you show up, you say hi to everyone. You walk into you walk into the team, you say hello, and you line your bags up like in a nice, neat line. Discipline and respect. You know what I mean? And you know how many kids came up to me out of hundreds of kids that I coach and said, not hey coach, but like, hey coach, how are you?
2,
maybe 10.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 10 kids.
More than I thought.
Dude, like, it's crazy, man. And I don't take it personal, you know what I mean? But they just don't know. And it's like the communication skills, it's just like, here's an iPad, go, play on the iPad, or here's Fortnite. And it's like, fucking go outside, dude. Scrape your knee, fall off your bike, do something.
I'm currently reading a book called, the title is The Advance of Life.
Mm-hmm.
The Advance of Life. And the reason I love this book so much is it's explaining the human trajectory and history of technological advancements and how with every technological advancement, we get higher quality of life, yes. However, we are presented then with like different opportunities and like detriments / hurdles to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Before, agriculture, if you were a man, you were learning how to hunt and forage and these things because you didn't know how to till the soil and how to really set up ground, right? Mm-hmm. Then you had harvesting and different tools and agriculture advancements, and now you're like, oh well, hunting now. The opportunity is, I don't have to spend as much time hunting because we have a readily available source of food right beneath our feet.
Right.
But then that begins different circumstances of like, different hurdles that, well, now I have to learn how to, till the soil, refurbish it.
It's like tough times create tough
Not even
men.
that. It's like, okay, let me explain it a different way.
Sure.
Imagine how difficult it was to get a hold of people before the cell phone.
Yeah.
Now,
fucking pagers. What was it? Pagers.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
Whatever it was. You had to write a letter.
Yeah,
literally write a letter.
Pigeons and shit.
Now, I make the argument that we are the most socially active people that have ever existed in the face of humanity that are the most isolated.
I agree with that.
But why?
I don't know.
But why? You have the tool at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You can talk to anyone at any time, and no one's talking. Whatever you want to talk about. But you want to know why America is so great more than any other reason is the opportunity for people to be themselves, truly.
Mm-hmm.
Truly. And it starts with the First Amendment, freedom of speech. How simple that is. When you cannot talk freely and openly about your thoughts, even if they're stupid fucking thoughts, Even if your thought is, I think black people are inferior to white people, that's a thought. Okay, well now because of the freedom of speech, we can now articulate that and combat that in the coliseum of intellectuals. Let me explain to you why you're stupid. Let me explain to you with science, with data, with history, why your statement is incorrect. The problem if you don't have freedom of speech is that anybody can say anything and it becomes doctrine overnight because there's no opposing viewpoint. We saw it in America for the briefest of moments for about a year and a half. Everything that I had learned as a youth, in high school and everything, was overturned overnight. We were taught that biology is not real, that it's how you feel that's more important. Now, here's the thing. I am willing to live and let live, but you cannot tell me science is now no longer true.
Fair.
Because it's the objective reality of the world.
Clip that shit.
You were born a man. If you want me to call you Macy, I will. You and I both know an individual where I have succumbed to this. I don't care. Why? Because my economics is not an issue to me. Does that make sense? But when you start telling me things that are objectively false, I can no longer follow that.
Dude.
And then you will call me transphobic, racist, bigot, all these other things, when in reality what I am against is the doctrine, because it's so easily proven false. And here's the problem with doctrines that are so easily proven false, and you're seeing this in real time. History is written by the victors, and the victors are the most intelligent, the most shrewd, the most cunning, and the most savage. And when you are creating a world of boundaries and safe spaces and all this other stupid bullshit, you're gonna fucking lose. And then history will look very sadly on you. We are gonna look back at 2020 to 2023, and my daughter is gonna be like, Dad, did you do this? And I'm gonna be like, yeah, we were fucking stupid, weren't we? My daughter could be a boy in 10 years.
Yeah, for real.
Hey, Dad, you were fucking stupid. Yeah, we were, son.
It is crazy.
I don't care. I don't care. Why? Why? All my needs are met. All my needs are met. I have a fridge that's full. I have a big house. I have a nice car. All the things that everybody wants, I have. So I don't care about all this other shit. It's minute to me. I have the luxury, the actual luxury of caring about shit that the average person doesn't care about. I care about World War III. I care about nuclear war. I care about tariffs and what that means for certain industries. Why? Because I invest. These are my issues. So when you come to me, I want to use the boys' bathroom. Dope, dog. You know? Cool. Is the girls' one closed? Like, what do you want me to say? The fuck do you want me to say? I really don't give a shit. Yeah, just don't fucking touch anybody. Don't be weird. Oh, I'm cool with that. Use whatever the fucking restroom you want. I think it's another way to disassociate, dilute, or, separate. Because first rule of Art of War, he who attacks first wins, and what else? Divide and conquer.
Great book.
Politics, in a nutshell, is what? Who'd you vote for? It's a loaded question. What kind of person are you, is what they're really asking. What do you value? Do you value economics, or do you value social liberties? The ineptitude of that question, more than anything, is you cannot have social reform or wellness or anything like that without economics. If you can't feed yourself, are you arguing about what restroom you're using? If people don't have shoes or running water, are you worried about black and white relations? What are we talking about? What a luxury America has to bitch about the shit that we're bitching about.
Seriously, man. But it is interesting you say that, because I feel like I've finally gotten to a point where I really just don't care. It feels good, man. Like it feels liberating. It feels fucking awesome, because I say what I want. I feel what I want.
But you do.
I do care.
You don't, but you do.
Right.
Doesn't affect you.
It doesn't affect me.
But you don't like this trajectory.
I don't allow it to affect me. I'm just like, man, whatever. Like, I'm good. I'm covered. And I'm blessed to be able to be in that position too. Let me just say that we're blessed to be able to be in a place where we're able to work like that, become something of ourselves, which I already know you're way more successful than I am.
You don't know that.
But I do know that I will continue to get better and continue to become more successful, and it will have less of certain things don't affect me.
Why do you say that I'm more successful than you? Why do you say that? Because of the suit?
No.
Why?
You're extremely successful.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
What are you measuring success by?
Well, you have a family.
Okay.
You have a big house. I don't have a big house.
He's got
yet.
a good. Yeah, that family was the good one.
You got a family. You got a big house. You got a really nice car. I saw that car. I'm a car guy. I'm a car nut. Those things for me, like I think success to different people is different things. Those things for me are success. A nice car for me is success because I love cars. Not because I care what other people think about my car, but because I genuinely, since I've been growing up, enjoy vehicles.
Is there a hierarchy to these things though?
Or
do you view them all the same?
That's a really tough question. So I've been focusing so much energy and time on myself to try and better myself and be able to provide the things for myself that I want.
Financially? What do you mean? You say
Yeah. Financially, freedom of time, I think, is like something that's like, it's like being able to just have a day where finances are okay. You can just do whatever the fuck you want and be around people that you want to be around. Because like, I've had money. I've also not had money. You live a way better life when you have money. It's just the way it is. Like anybody who denies that, I feel like that's me personally. That's my beliefs. It's hard, man. I do want a family. I do want to be able to provide everything that my kids could ever need, and I'm not there yet, But for me personally, where I'm at in my life right now, single meaning like I'm not married. I don't have kids. I don't even have a house. Don't know that I really want a house at the moment. Long term, I do, but like right now, I'm cool with renting. I don't want to fucking have to cut my grass and like do all that shit. If something breaks, I just fucking call the landlord or whatever. But like those things for me, like if that's what you want and that's what you have, which clearly like you're extremely passionate about your family, you're extremely passionate about financially like what you've been able to provide for them, then yeah, you're way more successful than I am. I'm not there yet. You know what I mean? So like I have everything that I could ever want. Like like I could ever want. That maybe that's not the right term, but like Christmas is around the corner. Like I'm not worried. Like I'm doing well, but I wasn't like that 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor. I'm starting to see that, and it was a mentality thing for me that like switched. Like I had some shit happen in my life, and just kind of realized that. I just stopped feeling sorry for myself, and I realized that nobody's gonna fucking do it unless I do. And I stopped making excuses, and I fucking get up every day. And I'm so blessed, dude. I like wake up, I do what I want. I play soccer. I play something that I've dedicated my life to. I fucking make money doing it. Pays the bills. I go to work. I do a job that has its days like anything else, but I'm doing really well. At night, if I want to go train kids, because I enjoy coaching, I had to take a step back from coaching in order to get to this position. But like, mop has been great to me. If I want to have a kid come in and train, like I enjoy that. It's not necessarily a money thing for me. I do enjoy it. I like making an impact. Yeah, from that standpoint, like I'm doing really, really well. But there's a lot of things, man, that I want to like. I made a list at the beginning of the year of things I want to accomplish, and both like materialistic things and then other things, family and a home and being in a city that I enjoy, and like being in a place where I don't have to be stressed about that. I don't have that stuff yet, and I'm happy with where I'm at. I don't want people to think like, oh, this guy's a fucking, because we are blessed. We do have a lot of that other people would kill for, but that's not my end goal. So
I think gratitude is a skill set, but here's why I asked that question and why I think the answer should be no, that I'm not more successful than you. You're how old? 26?
26, yeah. Turn 27 in like 2 months.
I'm 32.
Mm-hmm.
If I give you 5 years, and if I stop today and I give you 5 years, where would you be at? You don't know. That's the answer. You don't know.
I don't know.
2 years ago, I'm not where I was today.
Sure.
I genuinely, I know the trajectory. I don't know where I'm going to be.
Right.
When I was 26, I was renting a single bedroom apartment.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing video games, making like $85,000 a year, working at a publicly traded company, working in finance. Everything was like content.
Good, right? Yeah.
I was like,
For
hey,
sure.
I made it. I don't struggle to pay my bills.
Right.
I I got beer in the fridge. What more to man
For sure.
want, right?
For
I had
sure,
a cat.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
What I'm trying to say is, it's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Is it fair for me to compare myself to a 50-year-old
No,
who's much more established? Then why is it fair for you to compare yourself to me? It's not.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I would say if you ask me what makes me feel like you're more successful than me, that would be my answer. Because I don't have those things yet.
Then I would say you're wrong, because I didn't have those things when I was 26.
Fair. I mean, I do consider myself fairly successful for a 26. Actually, I consider myself extremely successful for a 26-year-old.
I would consider you not.
Fair.
Want to know why? Because you don't have a family.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It has
and it's all
nothing to do with your
perspective.
job.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with your
yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why you don't have a family and a kid could very well be economics.
Dude,
But I don't think it doesn't strike me that it is.
For me, it's more of like, I'm not content with where I'm at. I mean, maybe that's not the right word. I am content with where I'm at, but I'm not
happy.
I haven't hit my goals yet. I don't feel like.
What are your goals?
I have a lot of goals, man. I have a lot of goals.
Give me the biggest one.
Financially or
the biggest goal you have.
Biggest goal I have. Well, one thing that's out of my control, but good health. I think it's like
God bless.
Good health, man. Like fuck.
Something you can control.
Something I can control.
Goal you can control.
I don't even know that a relationship is something that I can control because I feel like it's a lot of with the other person as well.
So as a man, it is. As a woman, this is where I give women some credit.
Sure.
If a man is unwed by the age of 30, that's him.
Okay.
If a woman is unwed by the age of 30, a lot of times it could be that she put her time and efforts into the wrong
person. Yeah. And I feel like right now where I'm at in my life, dude, like I don't know that I would be the right partner. Meaning like I don't know that I would prioritize somebody else above myself. I don't know that it's not a financial thing. I mean, it probably is, right? Like I don't want to have kids yet until I'm able to provide more than what I could. But for me, it's more of like, if it comes down to like, hey, it's a dinner and I got to work, like I'm going to work. And I haven't always been that way. Like this has been something probably like the last like 7 to 8 months that I've really, really tried to, just because I realized like, dude, nobody's going to put money in your pocket. Nobody's going to fucking make you successful. So unless you put the time in, you're never going to have that. Right.
I agree.
And I'm at a place right now where I'm okay with sacrificing my relationships and maybe not all my relationships, like my family and my friends, like that's extremely important to me. But I'm at a point right now where I want to be a provider and I don't know that I'm able to provide all of that. So yeah, it is a little bit economics, but really just like I haven't hit my goals.
What do you mean by provider?
Well, I don't want my kids, so I want to be there when my kids have things, when they have sports. Like I want to be in a position in my life where I can say, you know what, I don't have to go to work today. I want to be able to, I am going to go to your game. I am going to go to your dance recital. Fuck, I hope that doesn't happen. But like, it might be, you know what I'm saying? I want to be there for it. Like all of
do you want financial freedom? Or do you want a freedom from a schedule?
Both.
Good luck.
Both.
Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I
you want to make money and you want to dictate when and how you spend your time?
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's tough. It's tough, man.
I'll tell you right now, brother, that's the hardest thing I have.
I know.
It's the hardest thing I have.
I get it. And that's, dude, like, I was going to ask you that. How do you balance it all, man? Like, how do you balance a good job, this as well, right? This is something that's not making you money. So it's like, for you to come here, like, this is Sunday. For the people that are watching, this is Sunday at 7 p.m. Like, I don't have a family to be like, you know what, like, I'm going to be with my daughter at this time. How do you do it? And like, also the other thing too is props to your wife, man, because like that dude, like that, Grant Dawson said it a few weeks ago. He fucking fought in the UFC and he's like, hey, like the biggest cheat code I have is the woman that's next to me. What I've ran into a lot is women that say they're okay with that. They say they're okay with you being this hard worker and then it turns out that like they resent you for it or they aren't necessarily okay with not always being able to spend the time with you that they ask for. How the fuck do you do that?
You have three questions in one.
Yeah.
Let me answer it in the hierarchy of importance. Number one, the only reason I'm afforded the abilities to do everything that it is that I can do is my wife.
Sure.
100%.
Right.
She's given me three great titles: husband, father, and leader. I lead my house. I am her husband, and I'm also a father because of her.
Sure.
If my wife told me tomorrow, you have to stop the podcast, I would, without question.
Fair.
If my wife told me tomorrow, you got to stop coaching, it's taking up too much time from Adriana, the family, I would.
So you found the one. It's a very special.
It's not that I found the one. Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
I molded the one.
Sure. Respect, dude. You respect, yeah.
She had every characteristic that I was looking for. But she would even also attest to you that, like, the beginnings of our relationship were rocky. Because there were some things that I was not going to bend on. But what she would also tell you is she saw it in me. Whatever it is.
Right.
She saw it.
Right.
She saw that I was a driven man, that I was a moral man, that I was a responsible man and a capable man.
Sure.
Am I without fault? Absolutely not.
Right.
I'm not perfect. How do I manage my time? So, number one, how can I do everything that I do? My wife.
Sure.
Without question.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. How long have you guys been together?
I've known her since middle school.
Okay.
We started dating when I was 25, 26. You want to know what it was? I started thinking about the next step. And
sure.
I'm going to go off center here, but you say that you're not willing to, give up a dinner at the expense of making money. For the right woman, you would. If you weren't dating bimbos, if you weren't dating hot girls that were like exclusively this, that, or the other, start looking for the qualities that you would want in a woman that you would have forever.
And
By the way, my wife is beautiful.
Sure.
Like, I can't explain it better than she checks all the boxes that you think and more.
Sure.
Was I lucky? 100%.
Right.
But what is luck? Where preparation meets opportunity. Was I prepared to meet this woman? Was I ready at the time of my life to meet this woman? All these other things. Everything lined up according to God's plan.
Sure.
The older I get, the more successful I get, the more I believe in God. Because this is not me. There's no way. I'm not this intelligent. Number one, all of my successes are afforded to me based on my wife. Number two, how do I do it? I don't have a life. And what I mean by that is, ask me how much time I spend on leisure.
For sure.
Everything I do, I look at as a responsibility. Now, some of these responsibilities give me joy.
Sure.
I love spending time with my daughter and my wife, but that's a responsibility. I love coaching, but that's a responsibility.
Sure.
I love this podcast, but it's a responsibility.
Sure.
So some of these responsibilities I threw on my shoulder, some of them I didn't, but I handle them because it comes with the job, so to speak. I think too many men are too weak because they're afraid of responsibility. But if I could advise anything to any one man, it's get married and have kids.
Okay.
The responsibility of a wife and a child will make you the greatest man you could possibly be. For sure. Because you stop living for yourself. Sure. I don't do anything.
You have a why, right?
No, it's not even that. I'm small in the grand scheme of all this.
Sure.
I'm going to die in 40 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you're single, it seems bigger because you're all you know. Have a kid. I think having a kid, and more importantly, having a woman or a partner to have a kid with. I did not want to be a father until I started dating my wife, and she started bringing out that in me. When you meet the one you know, I knew immediately. Sure. The conversations, what we were talking about, the direction.
Goals, yeah.
There was, dude, me and her, we spent 3 months talking on the phone at night. Like, she was in California, I was in Missouri.
Long distance.
Yeah, well, we knew each other, but yeah,
sure,
long distance.
I mean,
it was 3 months of talking on the phone every night until I went out there. And then once I went out there, I knew, she knew, we both knew.
Dude, it's crazy.
But there's so
man.
many things that go into that.
Sure.
And
Sure. Can I ask you something else?
Yeah,
You don't have to answer
yeah.
this, but you say the older you get, the closer you get to God. So I probably in the last 7 months have gone to church more than I've gone in the last 25 years. Actually, maybe not 25 because my parents, I would
you
go
grew
when I
up
was a
Greek
kid.
Orthodox?
Yeah, so I didn't really grow up too much in the church. I feel like my mom is Christian, my dad's Greek Orthodox. I chose Greek Orthodox.
Why?
I don't know. It kind of just spoke to me more, I guess. Also, I've met a lot of people. So my mom was Baptist, to kind of put into
Can I be honest with you?
perspective.
I don't know any of the fucking denominations.
So I don't
There's
either.
Christian, there's Islam, there's Judaism, and then there's like the 50 Shades of like
Fair,
Hinduism.
Fair.
But
Me either. I don't know shit about shit. Okay, but for me, I felt like I met people there that I was like, dude, these are the most like do as I say, not as I do. And I'm like, I don't fucking like that, man. Like, I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. My relationship with God is something that, I kind of just keep it personal. I go to church, but I guess what I'm getting at is I've gone to church more. They say like when you don't have anywhere else to turn, you kind of turn to God. And I feel like I've gotten closer to God. And I pray and I go to church as much as my time allows. I know I probably should be a little bit better about it, but we have things that we need to do. And I guess what my question is, did you have that relationship with God when you met your wife? Or was it something that you met your wife and then you're like, you know what, man, like God works in mysterious ways, or
No,
God kind of put this lady in my life because I don't know. Like I'm not there yet. I'm still kind of trying to figure things
listen,
out.
I hated God until Adriana was born, until my daughter was born. I hated
Okay.
God. I saw my wife, sorry, not my wife, sorry. I saw my mother struggle her whole entire life and die of cancer.
Right. And that stuff affects you, man. Like I was the same way. Like as a kid, I don't feel like I ever I never went without. So I don't want to make it seem like but dude, I saw a lot of fucked up shit. And then as I got older, I kind of like gravitated towards the fucked up shit versus gravitating towards the good in my life. And I was the same way. I was like, man, like my older brother passed away, and that was kind of for me. I was like, man, like if God's real, why is this happening? And now I don't know that I'll ever have an answer for that. You know what I mean? But I do know that I believe in God, and I'm thankful for that because I have a lot less like anxiety and worries about things because I do believe in God. But I was just curious if that was something that
So it's a good question.
Yeah.
I had a very when I was younger, we grew up Greek Orthodox. So I'm Albanian, but we spent more time in Greece than we did in Albania. Sorry, I have to give you kind of the pretense.
Sure, no, I get it.
We fled communist Albania with the immigration lottery. We lived in Greece for 3 or 4 years to get our papers to come to America legally. So a lot of my upbringing was actually like more Greek than it was Albanian.
Sure.
For context. Subsequently, the church we would go to. So
Right.
when I was younger, we always went to church. When my mom died, when I was like about 18, 19, let's just say I think trauma is good. Let me say that. I think trauma is good. I think you need moments that truly
100%.
change your
They change
life
you.
for good or worse. You need them because it's the spice of life. Is the amalgamation of all the things that have ever been bestowed upon you, whether they be big or small. It's the spice of life is change. When my mother died, it changed me into the man that I am now.
Sure.
If you would have met 18-year-old Arion versus 20-year-old Arion, two different guys.
Sure.
The reason why I say as I age, I become closer to God, and I'll be frank with you, I don't go to church that often, if ever.
And that's okay.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. When I say I become closer to God with age, I don't mean like the Christian God, the Islamist God, Judaism God. What I mean is, the more I age, the more I see this objectively, the more I realize I'm not as in control as I think I am. And the more I realize that I am making really good choices on very few opportunities gifted to me.
Sure.
Whether that be, coincidence, whether that be, some sort of divinity.
Right.
I don't know. All I know is if I choose coincidence, that makes a very bleak reality for what's after. But if I choose divinity, it's more purposeful and more hopeful.
Sure.
Do I know I'm right or wrong? I don't.
Right.
But I also like to think that my mom is in a better place.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like you have to.
Whether
think
I'm
that.
right or wrong.
You have to think that.
I choose delusion on this one.
Yeah. No.
If I'm wrong, and someone proves to me I'm wrong, I would still choose delusion.
But you probably get like signs. You know what I'm saying? Like there's signs that life shows you where it's
How
like,
you
okay, like
perceive
my wife is. I'm so sorry. My mother's looking after me, or like for me, it's my brother. Like I changed my soccer number, for example, to number 49 because that's what he wore when he played hockey. Dude, now I'll I'll randomly see that number, and I'm like, holy shit, It could just be me, you know what I mean? I don't know, but like I feel like usually when I see that, something good happens, and I'm like, okay, that's like, I don't know, is that me or is that like me like just law of attraction? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm gonna choose to believe same situation. I'm gonna choose to believe that is that's the situation. You know what I mean?
You asked me how I manage it all, and I said my wife was number one.
Mm-hmm.
How I choose a life where I kind of forego leisure time is number two.
Mm-hmm.
And number three is letting go.
Okay.
What I mean by letting go is kind of what we're talking about right now.
Sure.
I do think that there is a sense of you will see what you want to see. If you're a negative person, you will attract the negativities in life. And if you're a positive person, vice versa. When I say, and I want to get back to this because I think you asked a very good question.
Yeah.
Why I'm getting closer to God with time. I'm a very objective person. Everything I do in this life, I think to myself, why am I doing it? What would I do if I'm not doing this? What do other people think that approve? What do other people think that disapprove? Mm-hmm. And then am I okay with the course of action that I'm taking? Sure. With regards to why I say I'm getting closer to God, I cannot explain it better than this. There is no way. There's no way. Either I am a mathematical anomaly for the success that I've had and the people that I've met and the life that I live and how happy I am. Mm-hmm. Or there are forces bigger than me providing me opportunities, not necessarily forcing me into them, but providing me opportunities. And I have everything now at 32 that 18-year-old Arion used to stay up at night worried about having.
Right.
Everything that used to give me anxiety, everything that used to I don't want to be a loser. Oh my God, what if I don't go to school? What if what if my mom dies? What if everything that used to keep me up at night is like peanuts now.
Yeah.
And that's not because of just me.
I'm
a big part of that.
Sure.
It's self-ownership.
Without a doubt, yeah.
But if I didn't have four people at the right time, my first coach, my mother, my wife, and my current employer, if I didn't have these four people at the right times that I had them to change the trajectory of my life, and then if I also, I could have easily not listened to my coach and, I could have easily not got this job. Maybe I didn't apply.
Sure.
There's too many variables for me to perceive them as like, I'm the fucking shit. I know what I'm doing.
No, for sure.
I don't know what I'm doing.
For sure.
I'm not the fucking shit.
For sure.
I'm stumbling through this just like you are. The only difference is I'm a little older, so I had a little bit more time for mistakes, a little more time for opportunities, and I've made the right choices. Whether that's knowingly or unknowingly.
Yeah, dude, it's just crazy because I feel like the hardest part. So I guess the hardest things that I've gone through have just 6 months you look back and you're like, holy shit, I'm okay with that.
What is this? What is this? 6 months, 4 months? Like you were talking about.
I'm just saying, just.
Well, what happened a short time ago? What training?
From a timeline, just everything, man. So there was 3 specific things. Okay, one was a breakup, which I'm not gonna get into because I just
a toxic relationship.
Yeah, just really fucked up. Okay, didn't really bother me much, so that's not why I'm not talking about it, but it's more of just after 4 months I was like, holy shit, now I fucking see why that didn't work out.
How long were you with this person?
5 years.
Oh, good amount of time. It
Okay.
wasn't
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it wasn't
yeah,
like
no,
a,
yeah. I had a business, had a soccer club. It's essentially like decided to go a different route, tried to pursue a different career, but like lost a bunch of money, paid everyone that I was owed, got paid, you know, myself being last, which is, I'm okay with that. Cause like,
it's every business owner.
So yeah, right. 100% without a doubt. Was in like,
Can I ask for a couple details?
yeah.
What was it that was, because
They kind of go hand in hand.
well, the reason I asked for details,
Yeah.
if I don't want you to say anything you're not comfortable saying, but if someone's listening to this and can learn from your mistake and not have to go through the same path, then that's value.
Yeah.
But only say what you want to say.
Dude, I don't care. I'll say whatever. I don't fucking answer to anybody. I don't care.
I know. I'm just.
So I'm trying to figure out the Okay, so owned my business. My girlfriend at the time was a very big part of that business.
That's a.
Number one,
I wish I was
anybody
around
listening,
there
don't
back
fucking
then.
do that,
Yeah.
okay? But
Never mix family with business.
Never. And there's more to that too, because it messed up for a period of time my relationship with my father, which fucking sucked because he was like my best friend growing up. So that kind of happened when we broke up. It affected the business, right? And that a business essentially affected my entire life. Okay, that was my income. That was everything that I was doing. So that kind of happened, and then I got a new job coaching, and I was like, I really like what I'm doing. I'm making good money, and I'm happy with it. I'm glad that happened. And then I got into a new relationship for like a year and a half. Actually, thought that person was gonna be like the one that I'd spend the rest of my life with.
Oh wow.
Not gonna say that I was perfect because I wasn't, and I'm still growing, and I'm still not perfect.
Did you fuck it up?
I don't know that I'd say I fuck it up. I think I was just at a place in my life where I had a lot of different things going on, and it was like I was chasing playing, I was chasing coaching, I was chasing my business and
Playing soccer.
Yeah, so I was
Sorry.
playing.
When you say playing,
in
the sense of a relationship.
So no, I didn't fuck it up in the sense of like cheating or anything like that. I was coaching, which was a full-time job, I mean, as you know, right? Weekends are gone. Nights are gone. I was doing my current job that I'm doing now, which is sales, which is like, 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. So and then I was playing, right? And I wasn't able to do any of those things to the best of my ability.
Why?
It just I was trying to give 100% here, I was trying to give 100% there, and then as eventually you get burnt out, and like
I don't like that answer.
That's the way I feel. And I'll agree with you on that because I think that I've grown a lot.
That's a little bit of cope.
Fair. And I feel like
let me ask that question again.
So now,
why weren't you giving 100% to all these things that you were doing?
It's a really good question. Probably because I was fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
And so that hit me, and I kind of realized, you know what?
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah, sure.
You said it first.
Yeah.
That putting on all these things was the reason why you couldn't give 100%.
Yeah.
When I dug a little deeper, you kind of removed some of the bullshit.
Partially. I'm gonna kind of go into that a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
So hours wise, right? Like there's 24 hours in a day. Set hours are work. Set hours are training. Set hours are practice.
What if I told you practice, work, and training is all work?
It is all work. However, they overlap. Meaning, my day job would be normally until 7. I wasn't able to do my day job until 7. I only could do my day job until 5.
Yeah.
Because then I'd have to go coach, right?
Oh, trust me, I know
I'm
exactly
being paid.
how you feel.
So I wasn't getting the results in my day job that I should have been getting with my skill set because I was leaving 2 hours early. Now, I do sales. I do door-to-door sales. That's a fucking grind. It's a fucking grind, and I love it. And the reason I love it, and I'll get into that, is because I'm in control, right? If I work, I make money. Now, from 5 to 7 is when everybody's home. So I was missing those hours to go coach, right? And I was making money coaching. I was making fairly good money coaching. However, the amount of mental capacity that it takes to coach and the amount of money that I would have been making if I was working those 2 hours and not coaching is completely different. I make way more money now just working until 7 because of those 2 hours and the amount of energy and time that I put into it. People are home after 5. Just makes sense, right? So that's kind of a part of it, right? And then waking up and then being able to train. Now, we can say it's laziness, we can say it's this, but when you get home at 10 o'clock and you have to be up at 5 a.m. to train, your body is not able, you're not able to be at the top. It takes a lot. It takes recovery. Sleep is a big, very important, especially as a fighter and things like that. But I wasn't able to sleep. I ate pretty well. I meal prepped and prepared as much as I could, but I wasn't playing well, right? Which will then mentally, I was fucked up going into work because I'm like, well, fuck, I had a shit day of practice. And as an athlete and as a professional athlete, that fucks with you. When you have a bad day, it fucks with you, right? And then you don't make money at your job because you work on commission. And then you're in a bad headspace going into coaching. It kind of is just like a snowball effect, right? And I was making enough money to get by, but I was like paycheck to paycheck, which I shouldn't have been because bare minimum at my job, I should be making $1,000 a week. I'm doing much more than that now, but my coaching was $4,000, right? So that's $8,000 a month plus my player salary, which I'm not going to get into on camera. But the point is that's pretty fucking good money for a guy without a family.
It's about 6 figures a year, brother.
Yeah. So
mental math.
Yeah. So I think, she had a lot of goals, and I think that I was scared to take the step to go full-time with my job because of the money that I was making. So no, long story short, to answer your question, no. Could I have done more looking back? Probably. Do I change it?
Salvageable, the relationship?
I don't know that I'm in a place right now where
you want to do that.
No, because you know what? I think that the right woman would have probably said to me, "Hey, you know what?" And I don't know, man. Like, I don't have the answers to all this, but
no. And by the way,
am I the type of person to like go and reach out? Like, if I'm being honest, I'm happy where I am. I'm so fucking thankful that stuff happened because of the trajectory of my life and because of where I'm at right now. Like, dude, I'm so thankful for it. I really am. Whether we were to figure things out or not, I'm not. It's not something I think about. I'm more of just like, you know what? I see why that happened. Everything happens for a reason. Now I do my job, and I do my job really fucking well. And I'm hitting bonuses, and I'm like staying consistent, and I enjoy it, right? Okay. And I earn off on Saturdays. Like I make enough money to where Saturdays I don't have to work, and that's like my fucking day, dude. Where like I don't have a game, I can just have me time, and I love me time, man. Like I love to just like, I say sleep in. I sleep until like 7 o'clock, but like I love to just wake up
7
and
a.m.
like be
specific.
Like 7 a.m. Like if I don't have games, like I'm not probably supposed to be training, but like I go and spar, and like that's shit that I enjoy. I enjoy waking up and going to JP's class at 7 a.m. and hitting some fucking pads. Like that's things that I enjoy.
Let me add a caveat to the comment that I made earlier about like, men are better with kids. Men are better with kids when they're ready to have kids. Forgive me.
For sure.
I don't think that if you're 19 years old, you should have a son or a daughter.
Right.
Like that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, for me personally, when I was like 25, 26, I was like, what's next?
Yeah.
So like if you're not at that moment where you're like, okay, work, good. Social life, good.
Sure.
Are all my needs met? Am I happy?
Sure.
Yeah. What's next?
Sure.
If you're not at that point, then don't.
Right.
But I will also say that if you have the moral upbringing, if you have the structure for a good member of society, I do also think that a baby or a wife can also propel or kind of like fast forward you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, dude, I've met multiple people since then. Kind of sort of talking to somebody right now, and like, it's kind of crazy to me. It's like how calming it is, and like how much I just like I focus on me and like.
How are you meeting these women?
Well, so yeah, no, for sure. Like another
online bars. Gym.
So the one that
Work?
yeah, whatever, dude. Like whatever. The gym,
Anything?
going out. Like I talk to people. If I see a good looking girl, you know, the girl yeah, dude. You know, I was like, well, fuck it, I'm single. Like, but no, I'm talking to a girl now, and
Is she older, younger, same age?
same age.
Okay, cool.
Same age, same kind of goals, like long term. Like seems
Does
like
she have any
that's
kids?
no kids. But wants kids and like
Good.
wants to be like she's real good with in her feminine energy, and I think a big part of that too is like the man. Like I think people say like, oh, we want women to be in their feminine energy, but like, dude, what does the man do for her to be in her feminine energy? And I think that was something that I fucked up with in like past relationships where like I didn't take control of like certain situations, and I dude, like, listen, if I fuck up and like I'm not doing what I needed to do, like I'll look in the mirror and be like, you know what, yeah, like
What
fair.
if I told you my wife is the most masculine woman I know?
Fair, dude, fair.
What if I told you?
Yeah, but like your presence alone, right, is like
It's not my presence.
what you do, what you bring to the table, right? Is like
She'll feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Every woman, just
Will-
like every man,
For sure.
wants to go back. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. If you disagree with me, you're wrong.
no, yeah,
Every woman wants to go back to their feminine
Absolutely.
energy, their feminine place. I'm not saying that femininity is inferior to masculinity in any
No,
way.
no.
Your
Right.
strengths are my weaknesses. My strengths are your weaknesses.
Yeah.
One of the strengths that come with masculinity is leadership.
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
Because if I have to protect you, if I have to honor this house and home and our family and generate revenue and all, I need to be in steer of this ship.
Bingo.
And if I'm in steer of this ship, you need to trust me.
Bingo.
How can you be feminine
Yeah.
and recessive
And
if you can't
dude,
trust
and
me?
like if I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm
It takes a man to allow a woman to be a woman. I don't blame women
for sure
for becoming more masculine.
For sure, when they
in
have
a
to be.
world with feminine men.
Absolutely.
But I do blame a woman who lets their masculinity obscure their possibility with a man.
And
Do not compete with your man.
exactly.
Don't. 'Cause you'll never have a good relationship.
And I feel like that was part of it, was like it was a competition, but I feel like also it was me, dude. Like I wasn't a leader.
You gave
I
too
wasn't,
much ground.
Yeah, I gave too much ground, and like now I know where
Why
I
you
stand.
were unsure of yourself? You thought that was the right thing to do? Why did you
No,
give so
I
much
just
ground?
maybe past relationship, like maybe it was like not knowing any different. You know what I mean? I was young, dude. I'm still figuring shit out.
Can I say another thing though?
Yeah.
Because I think people will start to think that masculinity means ownership. My wife makes 95% of the decisions.
Sure.
If you go into our house, 95% of the shit you see in our house, from our fridge,
Sure.
our decor, 95% of that is her.
Right.
The 5% that I choose is like, she chooses what color the sails are.
Right.
I choose the trajectory of the ship.
Right.
So my 5% is not the Monday through Sunday.
For sure.
My 5% is like, if we go left or we go right, what's the
Right.
next 10 years going to be?
And I feel like that's awesome
that's
for
keen
you,
though, right?
That's awesome for you because you understand that, and I feel
Now.
like that. I feel like at that point in my life, which I say that point in my life like it was a super long time ago, it wasn't. But it put things into perspective for me, and it taught me a lot of lessons in a really short amount of time.
The ex relationship or the current one?
The ex relationship, yeah, and I've noticed that like it's just kind of catapulted my life to where I fucking make decisions, and I know I trust myself, and I know I'm gonna figure shit out, because at the end of the day, man, like a girl could leave you, a friendship could have a falling out, like your best friend could go and fucking cheat on you with your girl, like you just never know.
No, you do know.
Well, fair.
If
fair.
your woman would leave you, she was never your woman. And if your best friend would cheat with
Exactly.
he was never your best friend.
Right. I feel like to a certain extent, you learn those lessons, and then once you learn those lessons, everything is like, it's like a fucking light bulb. Yeah. And I feel like I learned those lessons, and now like a light bulb kind of went off, and it's like, man, like whatever happens, I got me, but whatever happens too, like I know I'll make the right decision with whoever is around me. And I don't, like, I could have all the success in the world. I could have all the cars that I want and all the watches. Like I told you, I'm a watch guy. You know, like all that, like the physical stuff. But like, I do want a relationship, and dude, the girl I'm talking to now, like it's really good. I hope it stays that way. You know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of that is just because of the lessons that I've learned and how I am as a person. And sometimes I do, like, I'm really hard on myself. And I try to look myself in the mirror and say, you know, like, maybe you're not doing enough in the relationship, or like maybe you're giving too much to your work and too much. But I feel like
healthy. That's healthy.
But I feel like now where I'm at, the right woman will be okay with it. The right woman will understand, and like, and also, when, like, to your point, you'll want to spend time with them. Like I do feel like that. You know what I'm saying?
You keep saying right woman, but I wanna really emphasize that point. Does the right woman allow you to do whatever you want?
It's not about whatever I want.
Okay.
It's more of like what's right. Like what's going to set
right?
us up, right? Because like the decisions I make are not necessarily.
What is right when you say, as long as I'm doing what is right? What is right?
What is right? I mean, dude, I struggle with that. Really, it's such a good question, because like I fucking struggle with it, man. Like I feel like I'm 100%. I'm all in on like whatever I'm doing. Something that's really helped me is just being like keeping my head where my feet are. So like when I'm at practice in the morning, I fucking train, man, and like. Not to get too much into it, but like this year for me, soccer wise, has been like the best season that I've had so far. I mean, we're 4 months into the season, but like the best season that I've had, because while I'm there, that's my priority. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not focused on anything else. My job, I've made more money in the past 3 months than I probably made in like 7 months before that.
God bless.
Because while I'm there, I'm there. I'm not worried about practice. I'm not worried about coaching. I'm not worried about any of these other things. I'm worried about what I can control, right? And what I can control is what I do while I'm there, okay? As a coach, I feel like I train a couple kids at the gym. I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not a professional fighter. I mean, I am a professional athlete, but I'm not a professional fighter, right? So for me to coach a kid, I'm very analytical. The amount of growth that these kids have had and the amount of time that I've been working with them is fucking unbelievable. And I'm not saying that because I'm like full of myself, but I feel like what I do while I'm there is really, really good because I'm in the moment. And I feel like for me, it was a struggle of like, hey, I need to focus on my girlfriend, or I need to focus on soccer while I'm at work, or I need to focus about work when I'm at soccer. I need to, whatever the case may be. And that's what fucked me up. And you learn those lessons and you realize, like, hey, when I'm at work, I'm at work. When I'm at practice, I'm at practice. When I'm fighting, I'm fighting. Like, whatever the case is, I've learned those lessons. And now that's me. That's like part of my identity.
You separate. Boom, boom, boom.
You separate, you compartmentalize, and when you're on a date, you're on a date. You know, you're not on your phone, you're not on fucking Instagram or Facebook, and like,
if you are, it's a bad date
for sure, dude. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, I'll go to dinner. I go to dinner alone a lot. I like that. Like, it's like me time.
I'm married, I still do.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. I went to
it allows me time for myself.
Yeah, and I'm not on my phone. Like, I'm just fucking people watching and like turning my mind off and have a glass of wine. But the amount of couples that I see with a fucking dude, I went to, where did I go?
I'll go a step further, brother. The amount of old guys I see with escorts.
Yeah, that's true.
Is like slowly increasing.
Dude, fucking bitches.
I frequent. Oh my god!
God damn it!
Listen,
dude.
I don't blame anybody for making their money, but I frequent a couple restaurants actively, and for the last 3 years, let me just say that trajectory is up to the right.
And they don't give a fuck, dude. And it's like, I don't know. For me as a guy, like I've done this before my relationships. Like, I don't have a filter. so like when I'm with a girl and she's like on her phone, I'm like, can you put your fucking phone away?
I don't
like that.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? Like, can you put your fucking phone away?
No, but let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question though, because I don't
Yeah.
have a filter either.
Yeah.
Why are you at dinner with a woman that feels that that's acceptable?
Bingo, right?
I would have got
First
up and
or
left.
second date. Right?
I would have got
It's
up
like,
and
okay.
left.
100%.
Niko, I would have got up and left.
I agree with you, dude.
I'm not asking these questions.
I agree. For sure.
I'm not negotiating with you
What
for your
the fuck
time.
are we doing?
I'm
Right.
paying for dinner, am I not?
Exactly.
Give me your fucking time.
Exactly.
And by the way, if I'm not worth your time, why are we here?
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you later, right? So it's just, but dude, the amount of people that I see that are like on their phones, and it's like, are you not in the moment? Are you not like trying to talk to this girl? Like, dude, there's some fucking ugly ass dudes with some hot ass guys, and the fucking dudes on his phone.
Hot ass guys, girls.
Oh, what I say?
What kind of bars are you going to?
Wow, dude, unreal. We're gonna cut that out.
Equal opportunity lover here.
No, so like you see like these fucking guys who are with these fucking models, like really hot, and it's like they're on their phone, and it's like, dude, what? Like,
because they know what they're doing,
or vice versa,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Vice versa. But it's just like, anyways, back to the point, like just being in the moment and like doing every single thing that you can to the best of your ability. And like, since I've done that, my whole life has just kind of catapulted, you know? Just
remember how we were saying earlier that there's different strokes for different folks? I actually don't think anything you said was wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
I am the complete opposite.
Fair.
Everything I do, I'm doing all together all the time.
Yeah, see, I can't do that. I tried it.
I can't not. I can't not be okay. With the nature of my work, I'm always on call, even now.
Do you think that that's something that you're like, you've developed? Or have you ever been, I guess, in the situation that I'm in where it's like, I'm compartmentalizing everything? Or have you always been like that?
When you start employing people, you're always working.
Yeah, but I don't employ people yet. I mean, I have people that work with me that I've hired. And I will say, I will answer their call at any time. And I've been at dinner when I have to answer their call, and I will answer their call because...
Let me change that with a caveat.
Sure.
When let's say you're working like a 9 to 5, okay? Yeah. And you're bringing home like a sole income, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my W-2 is all the money I'm bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you can really devote your time and effort to that one thing.
Right.
Fair. I'm not saying that. But I will say that when I increased the number of revenue streams,
sure,
it has propelled me
for sure.
A couple of weight classes.
Yeah, okay? Absolutely, yeah.
But with that comes more responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a couple businesses where now I am more responsible. I have additional responsibility, not just for like what it is that I'm bringing in, but I offer these people health insurance. I offer these people W-2s.
Sure.
It's not just about the money
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
I am not afforded the luxury of isolating.
Sure.
Because these people need me to be on all the time. By the way, I still have an employer.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I have to do all the time, even during this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am technically on call.
Sure.
If my phone were to ring and Ariane, this, that, or the other, we would end this conversation and I would have to go do my thing.
Sure.
And I'm sure that when you say that like you're isolating these things, there's always the Venn diagram of overlap.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is I like that all the things are happening all the time.
Sure.
When I'm looking at my life, I'm thinking, I'm a father and I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an employee, I'm this, that, or the other. And I like doing all the things all the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All the things all the time, all the time.
See, that's your perspective.
And that's why I say, I think what you're
sure.
doing for yourself is exactly what you need to be doing. If this is what's resonating with you, then by no fucking means should you change it.
But I will say, too, like, dude, I like being someone that, like, the people that I've hired can go to. Like, that for me, like, I take pride in that. And that's why I say, like, if I am at dinner or whatever and they call me, I'm answering.
Well, I'll give you a caveat. If I'm at lunch with my wife and my daughter, that phone turns off.
Sure.
So just like you have some things where like you're isolated to the individual task, but then there's some overlap of responsibility.
For sure.
I'm the exact opposite with the exact opposite overlap. We're like, I'm always on, except for a 2-hour lunch or you know what I mean, a 1 hour play session or
it's
what
important, man. It's so,
balance.
Yeah, right. And dude, it's crazy because but
that's fascinating, right? We can each have
for sure
the opposite, but it works.
Yeah. I asked. It's funny. One of the pretty higher ups in the company came to St. Louis, and I asked her. I said, my goal is to have a family. My goal is to have kids. How do you do it? And is there a balance? Like, how do you figure out this balance?
Work-life balance.
And her answer to me was, there is no balance. Her answer to me was, Sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes it is completely balanced. Sometimes it's 90-10. Sometimes it's 20-80. Just kind of depends. But you have to be okay with that, and you have to accept that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm like all or nothing. Like, and I feel like if I'm gonna be in a relationship, I want to be able to give what is deserved, right? Because if you meet the right woman, and when you meet the right woman, it's not her 100% and you 0%, right? It's not you 100% and her 0%. It's, am I able to give what I'm able to give at the times when I need to give it, right? And I don't know that I've figured that out yet. Like, I don't know that I have that capability to be like, you know what, like, I need to prioritize this, right? I don't know. Like, that's just something that I'm.
Now we're starting to get to that, like,
it's like,
that
dude, I
skill
just
set
don't
that
know,
we're always
man.
attaining.
Like, I don't know. Like, I know there's a few things in my life that I'm not willing to give up. One's, I love to train. Like, I love to fight.
I don't know next year from now.
I love it.
I know, but I'm trying
It's
to say
part
is
of
like,
me.
Today,
Yeah, right.
I was
right.
a fighter for 10 years.
As of right now.
Yeah.
As
like,
of right now.
All
right?
I'm trying to say is,
sure.
you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Where I'm at right now in my life, I'm not willing to give up soccer. I almost quit, by the way. Not a lot of people know this, so I'll get into it a little bit. I almost quit this year. I almost didn't play.
Well, about to end soccer, huh?
Yeah, man. So I think I love soccer, okay? It was the first time in my life where I didn't get enjoyment out of it. And I
This
think
year?
Like yeah, from like last November to like maybe this November, maybe not November, August.
But why?
So there was a lot of shit going on in my life, which I had kind of talked about, but it wasn't just that. It was that it became more of a job for me than something that I enjoyed to do, and it wasn't as much playing, but dude, my fucking roommates can attest to this shit. I moved in with them in June, July, something like that. I did not touch a soccer ball. I did not touch a fucking ball inside of our house. We're soccer players. There's soccer balls everywhere. Did not touch a soccer ball until the first day of preseason this year, November 5th, 4th, whatever day that was.
But why?
I coached. I dealt with parents, which I don't think is as big of an issue in wrestling and like sports like that as it is in. Dude, I can't wait to hear.
Is it? I was hated my first year.
Okay.
I almost got fired in the first week, but continue. This is about you.
So, dude, it was more of just like parents wanting to live through their kids and false expectations of what. For me, my job as a coach, and people might agree with this, people might disagree with this, 1% of 1% goes to play at the highest level, right? My job as a coach is not to develop the entire team to win every game, okay? My job as a coach is to develop kids to become good people in society, hard workers, respectful, good communication skills, right? Through a game. And to get better, right? And to enjoy it. That was my job as a goal.
And if they are the top 1%,
great.
We'll
Fantastic.
facilitate that.
Fantastic,
But the
right?
sport is the vehicle for better people.
Exactly. And it was just always like, dude, I'm not a fucking professional coach, okay? I don't get fired if I lose 5 games. If my kids, if the kids that I'm coaching and the group that I'm coaching is 500 on the year, meaning they've won as many games as they've lost and vice versa, I've done my job because it means they're getting tested, they're dealing with adversity, they're learning to fucking compete, they're learning that sometimes you do all the right things and shit doesn't go your way, and sometimes shit goes your way when you don't do all the right things, right? That's just it's the point of the sport. And it became more of a job for me than it was me enjoying it. I love to develop kids. I love to develop players, which is why I've kind of got into more of like a individual one-on-one coaching because it's less of a responsibility on whether they fucking go and play amazing in the game or not, which is also very extremely correlated to what the parents do the night before, which they don't want to fucking take ownership for, but that's another topic.
I could not coach a team sport.
Dude, it's hard,
The
man.
only reason I coach wrestling is because it is a team sport. It's individual kids. It's individual kids.
But I will say this, man. I met some of the closest people in my life right now. Some of the best relationships that I have are with parents of kids that I've coached. I'm extremely thankful for that. However, it became a job, and I'm fine with a job. I don't mind a job, but for something that I've
even
developed,
porn stars wake up and say they're going to work.
right? Fair, dude. Can I have that job? Like, hold on.
You want it for like a month?
Yeah,
dude,
that's fine. I'll take it for a month, whatever. But it was more of just like, man, like, I don't know. It's just like I wake up in the morning, I play. I'm very, as a coach, like, you want the best for the group. You want the best for each individual kid. So like, games don't go as the way you plan, and you're sitting there analyzing why it didn't go and what you could have done better as a coach. And I love coaching. I really do. But I didn't have the best season last year. I was focused on a lot of other things. Like when I was at practice, my head was up with work and relationships and whatever the case may be. And I feel like I just kind of got like, I just didn't enjoy it.
Complacent?
Complacent maybe. Lazy.
Had you won every game that season, would you feel this way?
No. Yes, I would have. It would
have still felt like work?
Exactly. And that's how I knew it was an issue.
Because it wasn't directly correlated to the outcome.
Wasn't the outcome.
It was all correlated to the input.
It was all, yeah, exactly. And we didn't do extremely well last season. And I didn't enjoy it. Like, I didn't have fun. And like, for me, like, I guess, yeah, I'm blessed to play a sport and like make money doing it. But like, if I'm not enjoying it, I'll fucking make the money elsewhere. Like, I could make up what I make playing coaching. You know what I mean? Like,
can I ask you a deeper question? Do you not
Sure.
coach soccer because you want to give kids the opportunities that you got through soccer?
Absolutely. That's why I got started. I think that's why a lot of people get started in coaching, right? It's like, hey, you know, I've reached this level. Like, let me try to help and improve.
Not even. Sorry. Let me recalibrate the question.
Sure.
Not so much level, because like, I'm not looking to create, state. Like, I genuinely don't care how the kids do in wrestling, in the sense of whether they lose every match or whether they win every match. That's not my outcome.
Okay.
My outcome is, can I give these kids the same feelings that I got from this sport?
Absolutely.
This sense of confidence, this sense of
like, man.
I'm learning how to be uncomfortable, and I'm okay with that. I'm learning how to work hard. I'm looking discipline. If I can teach them discipline, work ethic, how to overcome adversity, and how to fall in love with victory. Yeah. Because they're all correlated. If you're disciplined, if you work hard, if you're overcoming adversity, the outcome of these things is victory.
Exactly. Yes, that like that's the best part about coaching. Like,
I agree.
Dude, the best part about coaching is when it fucking clicks, man. And I'll go as far to say as this, man. Like, I've worked with some really good players. I've coached a couple kids that now play in professional academies, which is fucking awesome.
Congratulations.
Super cool. Okay. And I love those kids to death, and I still keep in touch with them, and it's fantastic. The ones for me that I will always think about are the ones that came in who didn't have that skill set and became completely different kids and became fucking competitors, man. And like, just, I feel like that changes the trajectory of their life.
It does.
So that for me is like more important than necessarily having the kid that like goes to play for, we're in St. Louis, STL City, right? Like, it's so fucking cool, and like, I did play a big role in their life as well. But like, it's the ones that don't have that and the ones that just show up and fucking put the work in, and they're like, you know what, coach, how are you doing today? Like, it's the same kids, you know what I mean? And it's I take pride in that.
And shout out to the parents for those kids.
For sure, man, for sure, because most of those parents are the ones that are the most honest. Yeah, and the most. I want what my kid wants. I want my kid to be happy versus
selfless.
I didn't play in college, so I want my kid to play in college. Or, it's like, dude, like,
I fucking sucked, and I was really passionate about this, and I want my kid to not.
Right, man. And it's like, it has its place, like, sports are great. Sports are fucking awesome. But like,
there seems to be a correlation with either maturity or excellence that then does not push the next generation. When I see the parents that like force their kids,
Right.
it's because there's like this insecurity that they have within themselves.
Exactly.
Like, if I would have had more time,
Dude,
I would have been state champ.
Dude.
It's like,
yeah,
no, dude,
yeah.
maybe you fucking sucked.
Yeah. If
Maybe
I
you
didn't
didn't
blow
work
out
as
my
hard.
knee, I would have been there. Like,
Maybe
dude, get the fuck out of here.
Those rose-tinted goggles are so fucking legit. And it's so obvious because the kids hate even participating.
Dude, if I say this all the time, like, I don't care how fucking good your kid is, if he leaves practice and he's not smiling and he's not happy to be there, he shouldn't be there.
No.
Or I didn't do my job as a coach, right? Because
you can't
my job
force
as a coach is to have him
force
enjoy
a
it.
kid to like a sport.
You can't force him.
I played basketball in middle school. I chose wrestling.
For sure.
My father didn't force me into it.
Right.
I was given the opportunity,
Right.
and I chose it. My freshman year, I was kind of like, whatever about it.
Right.
I chose to commit to it. And
Dude.
had it been chosen for me, you and I would not be sitting here today.
For sure.
We would not be sitting here today.
Same thing with me. So I actually played hockey when I was a kid. And I was really fucking good at hockey. So it was kind of funny because I tried out for like, I guess what at the time was like Junior Blues. So like they were like, I guess the top team. I don't fucking know. I don't know anything about hockey. Okay. I was like 12. But my dad told me, he's like, man, you have to make a decision. I'm not making this decision for you, right? Like, this is something you have to decide. And he played professional soccer, right? So, like, his heart
Outdoor,
was,
indoor.
Outdoor.
Okay.
Yeah. In Europe.
Because I want to know what the difference is later, but
We'll talk about that. So, but he's like, you have to make this decision. Like, this is what you want to do. And my answer was soccer, right? So I chose that, and I enjoyed it, man. Like, maybe not last year, kind of being like the outlier, but like, dude, I wake up every morning and I'm so fucking happy to go play. Like, I'm so blessed. I'm so thankful that I get to go up and like do what I want. I like, how many people can wake up in the morning and say, like they've dedicated their life to this and they're able to do it because they enjoy it. Like, not for the money. Like, to be honest, I have a good job. If I didn't have the money from soccer, like, I'd be okay.
Coaching wrestling costs me money.
Right. And it's like, dude, like, we'll go out with the team and go on trips and like they pay for everything. It's fucking awesome. Our team is one of the most professional that I would say in the league. Like as far as money goes, as far as what they provide for us, it's fantastic. I have no complaints. But I will say, like, I love it. I enjoy it. I'm there because I want to be there. And I feel like a lot of guys on the team are in the same situation, like some of them just play and some of them are so fucking talented that they don't have to do anything else. And like, they make very, very, very good money. I'm not one of those guys. Like, I make okay money. I make good enough money. I'm blessed. I'm thankful, but like, I'm there because I want to be there. And I feel like when you want to be there and there's a common goal of like you want to be there, good things happen. You know what I mean? And it's like
passion.
It's like coaching for you, man. Like, I'm sure coaching for you. I know what high school coaches make as far as like soccer goes. I can only imagine wrestling. Like, you're there because you want to do it, right? And I feel like that's the most important thing.
I don't collect a salary.
Okay, fair. Yeah,
I literally do it for free.
Okay, and like, dude, props to you because it's a lot of fucking stress, and you worked a fucking 18-hour day coaching. It's amazing.
I do it for the high school that I went to.
Okay.
For the coach that coached me.
See,
if these two variables were not in there, subsequently now it's different because like you get. When I started, it was because of Devon Ford and because of Afton.
Okay.
He asked me for that team.
Sure.
Okay, sure. But since then, you get to learn the kids and you see them progress.
Right.
You see them grow, and then it starts to become like this infectious thing,
sure.
I want to see how far they can get.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now the reason I started is no longer the reason I'm there. But the reason why I bring up the money more than anything is because I try to instill in kids, like everyone says, do what you're passionate about. Great.
Sure.
Great. Awesome.
Right.
I was passionate about teaching, but teaching doesn't make a whole lot of money.
Right.
So I chased money first.
Mm-hmm.
I got the money. Mm-hmm. Now I'm teaching in my own way.
Right.
I could have been teaching math.
Fuck yeah.
But now I'm teaching in my own way. And I'm afforded the luxury of I get to sponsor some events like banquets and stuff like that. I get to do this for free, which is trust me, the school's like, thank you, Ariana.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely.
But more than anything, then I know that the reason I'm doing it is for the right reasons. I don't need the extra $3,000 or whatever the fuck it is for the semester.
Right.
I'm there. In fact, I feel bad for any time I can't be there because of work.
Sure.
That's the caveat that I bring. Remember what I was saying earlier? I'm not the head coach. I'm the assistant.
Yeah.
So there are days where I can't be there.
But you know what? Respect, dude, because I think that's like an athletic mindset. Like, I feel like you're a professional athlete, right? Like, you want to be there, you want to help them, and you feel bad. I was the same way. I was the exact same way.
It sucks.
It really does.
But I think to myself, better to be there 80% of the time and as an assistant, as a support, than...
Can I ask you something, though? And I don't know anything about the coach that's there now, the head coach. I don't know anything about that. I don't believe that titles necessarily mean anything, right? So my question to you, and you don't have to answer, you can cut this out, but you're an assistant coach, right? Does that fucking mean anything? Because I've had an assistant coach, and I'll say this openly, man. Like, last year, I was in and out of the first team. We have two teams. I was in and out of the first team. For me, the assistant coach was the head coach of the second team. And the assistant coach of the first team, the other assistant coach had coached me since I've grown up. I have more of a relationship with those two than I have with the head coach. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. What I'm saying is that that's just the way it works, right? How do you handle that situation where
I'm the head coach, but without the title?
Fair.
But here's the thing I'm going to say, though. The head coach who gives me the ground
exactly
was my head coach. Who taught me how to coach? The guy who coached me. Like, I often say this about parenting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did I learn how to be a good dad? I had a good dad.
Sure.
I had a great mom. So I had good role models.
You can also learn from the opposite, right?
Fair.
Like, I had a bad dad or a bad mom.
Negative and positive, either positive affirmation or positive reinforcement or negative, positive affirmation, negative reinforcement.
Sure.
Forgive me, that's the terminology.
Yeah.
You can look at something being done incorrectly and say, I'm not going to do it that way. Or you can look at something being done correctly and be like, I'm going to do it exactly like that.
Sure.
That's the individual. But the reason why I'm still there and I can do what I can do, even as an assistant, listen, we have conversations with the other coaches. The reason why the coaching staff works the way it does is because I'm allowed the
freedom,
the privilege.
Sure.
I'm allowed the privilege that when I step in, I lead practice. We have like 6 different volunteer coaches. We have the head coach and then the assistant coach like on paper. But when I come in, I lead it. Why? I actually have to spend some time thinking about like, is it because I'm an asshole and I just like fucking lead it by, you know what I mean? No, it's by respect. And I need to realize that. And that respect is given because of the outcome. Not the outcome of victory and defeat.
Exactly.
The outcome of the kids.
Right.
If I showed you these kids 3 years ago, if I showed you the program we had 3 years ago, the wrestling program did not change because of me. They changed because the kids were willing to change because of me. Does that make sense?
Respect. And respect to you, too, for recognizing that. Like, that's good. Like, no ego. Hey, you know what? It's not just me. It's like,
if they weren't ready for me,
for sure,
then I would have been gone.
Big maturity too for like high school kids to be like that.
You should see these kids now. You should see these kids.
That's why
now.
I fucking love wrestlers.
Night and day difference.
That's cool. That's awesome.
But supplement the sport with anything else. Sure. Soccer, basketball, whatever.
Sure, absolutely.
If you take my circumstances with any other thing, I got lucky. Once again, closer to God.
Mm-hmm.
I got lucky that when the coach asked me at the time that he asked me, I had the means in which to do it. I had the kids that were available for the trajectory change. Because I got to be honest with you, it was going a certain way, and then I got in there, and it's like, boys,
right,
we're going a completely different path.
Do you think...
And that first week was a culture shock for them. I had parents calling the coaches, fire this guy. Fire this guy. I had kids calling, he made me cry. You want to know what I told the parents? I said, do you want your kids to get me fired, or do you want me to fire up your kids? What do you want?
Sure.
What do you
want?
want?
A question on that, dude, because I'm in sales. I'm in a management company, and I feel like, how do I want to say this?
Just say it.
So you come in there and you change everything, right? and I kind of forgot what I was gonna say, but we're gonna go with this. So you come in there, right? You change everything. Do you think it's perspective? Like I guess what I mean by that is, right? You come in and you have standards, certain standards that you as a coach, assistant coach, head coach, doesn't matter, expect. These are the standards, right? Do you think that those standards change other schools? Do you think that, because what I run into, and our office fucking crushes it. We were like the number one office in the entire country, but our standards are higher. Mm-hmm. Me coming in as a new hire, somebody who had not had that experience, I didn't know any different, right? So I guess for like a freshman, I was like a freshman. I came into this and I was like, okay, this is the standards. This is fantastic. I don't fucking know anything different, right? And then I go meet these people and I'm like, oh, these are our standards. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, you know
have
what I
the
mean?
luxury of being in a place of success from the very get-go.
But I didn't know anything different.
That's good.
Right? So
That's
like the freshman, I guess for you is like, well, they didn't know anything different. It's like, okay, but this is high school wrestling. This is just how it is.
You're already
and that's
on
why
the right
3
track.
years, 4 years down the road, holy fuck.
I didn't have to
is.
unlearn any bad habits. And here's what I will say. And I don't mean this as an insult to any of the older kids.
Sure.
My first year there, this is my third year. So 3 years ago, we had one state qualifier. Last year, we had 6.
Holy fuck. Good for you.
This year,
man.
I won at least 10.
That's awesome.
This year, I won at least 10.
Good.
But why? It's a culmination of two things. I do not mean to say that all of this is me. Sure. It's not.
It can't ever be just one.
The other coaches have faith in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it to let me lead. Mm-hmm. So to that, I say thank you. Thank you for the respect.
Sure.
To the kids, they allow me to come in there and set a new standard. By the way, I'm not done yet.
Right.
I'm still wanting to raise that standard.
Sure.
But we have to do this like, if I come in there and you're at 0 and I tell you to go to 100, I'm going to get everybody to quit. You know that as well as anybody, right?
Right.
You can't just change a team overnight. But over the course of years, the kids start stepping up, more responsibility, more discipline, more that. Now, the freshmen that are coming in now only know the team as it is today.
Bingo. Dude, it's crazy.
You create a program through time. It took time. And in a lot of ways, I feel bad. Last year, when the season was over, I had a graduate tell me, Coach Z, I want you to know you really changed this team. Mm-hmm. And he meant it as a compliment. Mm-hmm. I took it as, fuck. What if I would have done it when you were a freshman? What if I would have done it before you were a freshman?
Right.
What if by your freshman year?
Yeah, but what if? You know what I mean?
I know. But
what if my grandma had balls?
Yeah,
this is what my dad say.
Grandpa.
What if my grandma had balls? She'd be my grandpa.
But do you see where my head goes?
No,
it's
I
like,
get it.
I have been able to change more lives through my time than my money. Mm-hmm. But it's only through my money that I'm allowed to give up
lives.
Time.
Right.
To give up time.
Right.
Could I buy a coach that cares as much as me? For that school, for that program, probably not.
Sure.
But how much money do I have to make in order for me to do that? And then how much...
Is that allowed?
What?
Like, is it allowed for
I
you to,
I could pay a coach if I wanted to.
It's okay. I didn't know.
Just
know,
like I can forego money.
Like
Listen, at the end of the day, okay, I want to be careful how I say this. Technically speaking, by Misha standards, I'm a member of the Afton coaching realm, right? I'm not a volunteer. I'm actually an assistant coach. I forego the salary, and there's a couple of things I have to do, like, a bunch of these trainings. And anyway, but at any moment, if I told them, hey, go fuck that, like, I don't care about that, but I'm still going to come in and coach, do you think they'll tell me no? They don't care. Right. All this is semantics. But it takes other people. We were talking about ego and like how I know that the kids are choosing to change. Well, how much ego does it take, or how lack of ego do you need to have to be a 72-year-old coach who's been doing it for 40 years and letting this 32-year-old come in and run the program?
But I think the thing is too, man, is like me if I was looking at me at 16, 17 years old, right? I'd like to think that I'm going to take advice. Like, dude, don't take advice from people who you don't want to be in their shoes, right? Like, that's a fucking big one. Like, if you don't want to be in their shoes, fuck their advice. Love you to death. You're a great person, but, like, I don't want to be where you're at. When I was 15, 16, 17, dude, like, if I had a coach that had played the highest level, that's who I'd want. And it's nothing personal against any other coaches that I've had, right? It's like, dude, if this person's fucking done it, I want them to know. Like, I want to know what they know, right? I feel like it might be the same with wrestling.
You have no idea about all this. When I was coming up, I was in high school from 08 to 11. There was a 2-time undefeated state champion called Esmond Ford. Okay? He was 2 years older than me. So my freshman and sophomore year, he was a junior and a senior.
Right.
And he was the one that really kind of like shaped my perception of the sport and really showed me what the top echelon was, because he was his junior and senior year, undefeated both years, state champion. Went on to wrestle in college. He unfortunately met an untimely death and died younger rather than older. I am now older than he was when he died.
R.I.P. For real. That's
one of the things. And I love Desmond.
Okay.
I love Desmond. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Fuck. Did you compete against him? Or was it?
No. We competed with each other in the team.
Same team. Okay. Sorry.
Kids would have been far better off had he been coaching. So in a lot of ways, I'm trying to give them something that's inferior to the product they would have received.
Understandable. However, we dude, that's
I know it's a lot. Sorry.
I get it. No, I get it, man. And it's like
shit. Sorry.
But no, it's okay, dude. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Do you think that's obviously you don't do this without purpose, right? You don't do this without an idea of, hey, this is something that I'm supposed to do. And do you think that this is your calling? Like, do you think that this is something that, like, obviously you're not doing it for the money. You're not, and again, you're successful. The money to you is not the purpose of why you're doing it. Let me ask you this: if you were in a different situation financially, if you were in a different situation in your life, would you do the same thing?
I wouldn't be able to. How can I handle my responsibilities? Some people think that, like, I do everything that I want to do because I have the means to do it. How could I coach wrestling if I can't put food on the table?
Sure.
Success has to come first.
Sure.
In every endeavor. I can't make somebody else's bed if I don't have a bed to make myself.
Sure, absolutely.
However, we have to choose why we want to be successful. Right. What do you want?
What's your reason?
What do you
want?
Your purpose? Listen, I love the suits. I love the watches. I love the cars. I do. But all of this is a game I'm playing because I'm a young 32-year-old man. When I go to dinners with people that are 45 years old, multimillionaires, I have to join the club. I have the Rolex. I'm a part of you guys.
Sure.
Listen to what I have to say.
Yeah.
And because I have that, it works. All of this means something until I'm 40, and then my body of work will speak for itself. It's like the freshman saying that he's going to be a state champion. We'll do it, and then I'll believe you.
Right. And then you turn 40, and you're like, holy fuck.
I would not be able to do all the things that I love to do if I did not do the things I had to do. By the way, I love what I have to do.
Sure.
Because I make money doing it.
Sure.
And I love being successful. I said this before, I'll say it again. There's no such thing as a bad job. Right. Only bad salaries.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I told you I smear shit on my face for $250,000 a year,
give me the shit.
I'm the best smear of shit on my face there ever existed.
Absolutely. That's, dude, okay.
People say that they want to chase their passions, but how many people do you know have 3 fucking jobs, working like Chipotle, working JCPenney, working whatever the fuck, and then they can't achieve any of their dreams because they're just so busy trying to make ends meet.
Right.
Mediocrity is a death spiral. I don't have enough money, so I have to work. I have to work so much that I can't do what I want. I can't do what I want, so I'm unhappy.
Right.
I'm unhappy because I don't have enough money.
Right.
I don't have enough money because I have to work. There you go.
Back to economics.
40 years later, you die.
Yeah, dude. I'm not.
Every problem you have is economics.
Can I just say this? I don't know if this is allowed to say, so if you gotta cut it out. If I am at that point, right? If I'm a pretty simple guy. I mean, I like nice things, but I'm a pretty simple guy. If that's the way that I'm living my life, I don't want to live my life, man. Like, I'm just saying it. Like,
and that's why you won't be that way.
No, exactly. And that's kind of the point I'm getting at is like, dude, if I got to that point in my life where I was like, you know what? I don't see a way out. I don't see a way to fix this fucking vicious cycle. I'm done, dude. I'll be honest with you, and probably because I was a little bit immature and a little bit didn't get to the point.
You wouldn't be done. A guy like that says they would be done would find another way.
Yeah, and
you'll find a way.
And I feel like that's kind of what I did, and I had that. I was like, dude, literally, like, this is crazy. I've never told anybody this, but I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself 12 hours and I'm going to decide like what I want for my life, right? If I want to be fucking mediocre, I'm done. Like I'm in it all, like super simple. And I'm not like that. Like I've because I figured out within that time, I just prayed and I fucking either I'm going to make it or I'm done. Like there's no fucking failure. I'm going to do what I love. I'm going to do what's successful, and whatever I have to do to get there, I'm going to get there. And it might not be tomorrow. It's not fucking overnight. Nobody's an overnight success. People think they're an overnight success, but it takes a lot of time and hours to get to that point. You want to
trust the path that you're on.
Right. And I made the decision, and I feel like that completely fucking changed the whole perspective of my life, because I don't ever think about like,
how old were you when you did this?
Dude, this was like a fucking year ago, man. Like,
what was the catalyst for it?
A breakup. I was broke.
Rock bottom.
Rock bottom, dude. Rock bottom.
You were deciding if this is it. I'm not.
I was broke. Like when I say broke, I mean like broke. Like didn't have money to pay my rent. Didn't have money to pay my car.
Scared.
Was negative in my bank account, and I literally just fucking cried and prayed, and I was like, you know what? Either I'm gonna fucking figure this shit out or I'm not. Like, there's no in between. There's either like success or there's no success. It was a Saturday night. My best friend came over, and I'm like, dude, like I'm struggling. Like I need your help. And the guy was like, hey man, my best friend ever, Eli's my fucking boy.
Shout out Eli.
Yeah, dude, no, for real. Like, dude, I've never told him this because I get emotional, but saved my fucking life. He told me on a Saturday night, he said, hey, man, I want you to do one thing, like go to church. Don't have to go to, you don't have to do it more than once. I just want you to go. Get up tomorrow and go to church. It was a Friday, I'm sorry. It was a Friday. He said, get up on Sunday and go to church. And I did. And went to the Greek church. Hadn't been there since I probably had been baptized, dude. Yeah.
Which one?
Assumption.
Greek Orthodox?
I walked in, and I sat all the way in the
Father
back.
Joseph, you saved a life.
No, for real, dude. Yeah.
Small world.
So I walked in, I sat in the back booth, and as soon as I walked in, dude, just like tears. And I was like, okay, like
it's a beautiful church. It's a beautiful
good
ceremony.
Dude. And completely like, I was like, whatever happens.
He gave you something to live for instead of something to die for.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. And ever since that moment, my life completely just, everything's not perfect. You know what I mean? Like I don't know that it's ever going to be perfect. I don't know what perfect is, but that shit happened to me, dude. And I made a decision. Like I fucking sat, dude. Sold him my gun, by the way, because I was worried. I was like, here, take my fucking gun. Like, you know.
Damn, dark.
Yeah, dude, dark. And I feel like in that moment it was like the decision. You know, you just got to fucking make a decision and live with it. And whatever that decision is going to be, I'm okay with it, but I'm going to fucking think about it. And, dude, it's crazy. Nobody fucking knows it. I don't even think he knows this shit.
Well, now we're going to clip it, and everyone's going to know.
Dude, yeah, I fucking woke up the next morning, and I was like, you know what? Like, doubt me now, motherfuckers. Like, it is what it is, you know?
Do you recall what I said earlier in this conversation when I said trauma's good?
Yeah, dude.
Why I say that?
When you said that, I was like, holy shit. Like, I never thought about it that way until now. But yes, you're 100% right.
How do you make a diamond?
Pressure.
And time.
Yeah.
And at any moment, if you rush that carbon, it'll crack. It'll turn to dust.
Right.
And if you don't have enough pressure, it'll just remain carbon.
Yep.
It's the perfect culmination of time, enough time,
enough pressure
over a current amount enough. If it was so bad that it was unsalvageable, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
But you had the right trauma at the right time with the right people around you, the right pressure, the right time. and now you're at a point where your life has never been better.
Literally never been better, dude. And like, again, I say that it's never been better. Like, people are gonna think like, oh, like
It can always get better.
it can always get better, right?
To date, never been better.
To date, dude, like, I'm okay with where I'm at. I'm not okay with like the long-term goal, but like right now where I'm at in my life, dude, I'm so fucking okay with it. Like, I'm so thankful. Like, and I feel like realizing where I'm at right now and how happy I am. Imagine how fulfilled and how thankful I'm gonna be when I fucking put more time and more effort into it, and I'm 5 years down the road, and I'm like living everything that I could possibly imagine, dude. And it's all, the best part about it and what I've learned is it's all you. Like, it's all me. You know what I mean? I'm in control of that. Wherever I'm at in my life right now is because of decisions that I've made. For better, for worse. If you're in a shitty position, it might be because of the decisions you made. Whether you want to accept that or not,
It always is.
that's a whole nother situation. But like, yeah, some things outside of the box happen. That's life. That's the way it goes. But like, whether you want to accept it or not is up to you. And when you fucking fully realize that you accept that shit and you're willing to do whatever it takes to get to to reach the goals that you have and see where you're at, like, that's all that matters. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the process. I've fallen in love with the process, man. I love that shit. Like, it's fucking great. It's going to make it success that much sweeter. You know?
Do you remember earlier in the conversation when I said that I was like a toxic masculine guy?
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes is such a stupid quote. It's "suck it up, pussy."
Yeah, dude.
So one of my favorite quotes.
You ever seen
You
that
wanna
video?
know why?
Yeah.
Some people look at that as a negative connotation. And I understand that, like, in today's day and age, men want to talk about their feelings and all this other stuff. And I'm not one to repress feelings. I fucking cried today.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, fair.
But here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that what you're feeling doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm not saying that the emotions that go to the hurt or to the trauma are not of value. What I am saying is, for right now, at this moment in time, suck it up, pussy.
You have to.
Because there's two options. Live on.
Or don't. Yeah, dude. It's crazy because,
And now when you look at that time, don't you look at it with reverence?
dude,
It's funny how time changes that.
I think of this thing every day, like, maybe not every day, but when shit happens, like, you know that video of the big ripped black dude, and he's like, conquer inner bitch, or stop being a bitch and come on, dude.
We got different search histories.
Dude, there's a video of this.
I got a woman trying to sell me soap.
Dude, okay, all right, well, yeah, married man, you know. I get a video that says, stop being a
Conquer
bitch.
your inner bitch.
Yeah, stop being a bitch and come on. And I'm like, stop being a bitch and come on, dude. Just figure it the fuck out, you know? And like, you do figure it out. Like, you really do. And like, it's a process and it takes time. You gotta fall in love with it and you gotta fucking enjoy it. And you gotta, like, all the negative shit that you go through makes the good shit that much better. Like, when I'm able now, like, I'm able, fucking thank God, man. But like, I'm able to like go to a nice dinner and not have to think about it. And I'm like, man.
Oh, that's a level of success, right? Going to the gas station and just
Filling up your
the
tank,
car
like, not even looking at it.
That's one.
And then you're
the
like.
second is going to a restaurant and just doing whatever you want to do, and then
I did that. I did that
afterwards.
last night. I did that
good?
last night for the first time in a while. And
Yes.
I could have before, but I'm priorities, right? Paying off debt and all that good stuff.
Yes, good priorities.
Yeah, dude,
good
for
job.
sure. But I went to dinner last night and I was like, you know what? Like, I fucking deserve it. I really do. Like, and I did it, and I'm. Don't
What a
even,
basic bitch quote.
Dude, I'm
I
like,
deserve it.
I deserve it. Yeah, I'm gonna shit. Yeah, fuck. God damn it, dude. No, but like, dude, it was fucking awesome, man. I left there and I didn't bat
Where'd
an
you
eye. It's called The Hangar.
Oh, I haven't been there.
Dude, it's fire. I got a gift card for both of my bosses for Christmas. It was so good. I was like,
you went there with a gift card, then you came back because you were like, it was so good.
I went there and then I bought 2 gift cards for both of my bosses.
Oh, I thought you were gifted a
No,
gift
I was
card.
there
Look
last
at
night,
you.
and I was like, you know what? This place is fucking cool.
The Hangar in where's that? St. Louis.
Dude, it's in Rock Hill.
Okay.
Rock Hill. Yeah. Fucking
Shout
cool
out The Hangar.
vibes. Yeah, dude. No, really. And I was like, man, like, I'm so thankful. It was funny, dude, because like, my card declined. But let me
Woo,
hold
that's
on.
rough.
So no. So I have a fraud alert. So any purchase over like $150, send me a text, dude. And I was like, hey, like we'll get dinner, and then can I have 2 $100 gift cards? And she's like, hey, like your card declined. Well, as the fucking card declined, I got a text
asking you to like accept
and I was
it
like,
or not.
yes. I was like, hey, try it again. I was like, oh fuck, you know,
Now you're like I'm poor.
dude. It was I was like, god damn, I'm really not that broke, I swear. But no, dude, it was so fucking cool to be able to go and like I ordered like 4 appetizers and I got dinner and like my bills were paid and it's like, dude, man, like it's good. It's fucking good. I'm so fucking thankful for that shit, and I don't think enough people like. Even if you're not where you want to be long term, like, dude,
It's a work in progress.
fucking fall in love with the process and like enjoy that little shit. Like to me, dude, it was, you know, $200, $300, whatever it was. I'm blessed. Like so many people are where I was a year ago and they're like, fuck, I can't wait. You know, like how am I going to put food on the table or how am I going to, and like now I'm here and it's like, okay, this is really fucking cool. And I'm
Just wait till you're 30 and you're talking about your 26s later.
dude, when I'm 30, there's you asked me about my goals. There's a couple goals I want to have, and I'm gonna say this because I feel like when you voice your goals, you're held accountable, and I'm gonna hold myself accountable. By the time I'm 30, I want a GT3 RS, and I want 3 Rolexes. Actually, I want one Rolex. I want one Patek Philippe, and some other stuff. But like, dude,
That's a broad delta, brother. You can get like a Datejust or you get the Daytona. Those are $40,000 difference.
I want the president.
Oh,
Gold
no shit.
president.
Okay, there you
Yeah,
go.
man. I fucking love watches. I love Patek Philippe 5711. You know, it's like fucking nice. But dude, I feel like when you accept that that's a person that you're gonna be and that's the goals that you have and you do whatever it takes to get there, it's awesome. And I feel like that's why relationships, I feel like I struggle with it because I'm so like addicted to the success for myself. And I don't know if I'm like at the position in my life where like I want to necessarily share that. Like I have those goals and like, dude, since I was probably 12 years old, that's been the car that I wanted. Like a GT3 RS is like the car that I want to buy. I don't know, man. Like that's what I want to do. So by the time I'm 30, that's my fucking goal. And doubt me now, motherfuckers. You know, it's like it's
I have
cool.
a prediction.
Sure.
Before you're 30, you get none of these things, and you have different priorities, and you have different responsibilities, and you're gonna be so thankful.
Dude, I think I have all of them before I'm 30. I think I have all of them within the next 2 years, and then I'm
Family
that
and
much
kids?
thankful for family and kids.
Fuck yeah, Niko.
Yeah.
First episode we had over 3 hours.
Fuck yeah, dude. Let's go. Let's go.
you, brother.
Let's go.